Oh my gosh, you can see it in my live stream? Wow, yeah, that's definitely noticeable. You can definitely see something a little bit brand new. And it's my giant Lego wind turbine. I didn't even have to have instructions to put this bad boy up. I actually went right off the mine. And look at the beast. Look how big this wind turbine is. That's a big wind turbine. Of the other turbine I had. Okay, so anyway, last time we were, you know, playing. We were making this giant tunnel across the equator, but we're gonna make it onto the outer core surface. We're gonna need more hydrogen. Okay, actually, I really wanted to react to this. I was watching videos of this series called Mischief Mikey by Darman, and well, I'm actually gonna react to Provision. Okay, so if you guys don't know, I'm not gonna call myself a bank expert, but I have been to multiple banks. Like, what's this? I have a new Amazon order delivery. Oh well. No way. No way. No way. No way. No way. Did I get wind turbines? A work light. Yes! To your point, I actually like this. Thank you for the free work light. That's really useful. Especially where I live. Huh. This platform seems to not be getting power. Oh. There we go.
A year after a heart attack, Mike's feeling like himself again. But even though time is...
Team steals church money from Vision Pro.
Mom, I don't ask for much out of this life. I just want an Apple Vision Pro. I can't give it.
Apple Vision Pro? Is that like a $3,000? How much? Oh. Yeah, it's not that much money. Only $3,500. Dude, there's a lot of Apple technology I can afford, but that, I can't even afford that. That's expensive. That right there, let's see. I would have to work months just to be able to get that thing. What, if I get like... I'm sorry, I have to do the calculations to kind of put myself in perspective how poor I am. Let's see, 3,500 divided by like 200, which I get paid per week. It'd take me 17 weeks just to get that thing. Yeah, that's expensive. Oh, hey, look. Oh, wait, do I get rewards? Baby RTGs, let's go. Yeah, this place is a mess. It needs to be cleaned. Anyway. Mrs. Mikey.
Here we are, Miss Miller. I'll give you a moment.
Thank you.
Wait, where are they? Are they in the vault? Okay, I don't know if they actually do this where I live, but you're basically, at least in Heartland and Chase Banks, you're not allowed in their vaults. You're only able to sit outside while they go in for obvious reasons. Because if you're allowed to get in, someone could literally just sneak in a drill and start drilling open the lockboxes. So I don't know how these guys got in the vault, but they're pretty lucky. Also, the reason why they don't let you in as well is that there could actually be a little bit of gold and silver bars. Not like big ones, but like tiny little pieces, like little bars are like this big and this big, like of silver, and sometimes rarely gold, that banks will help customers keep safe for them, because vaults are way safer than the home. That's why they don't let you in. Okay, so she's getting her lockbox.
Mom, you've been holding out on us.
Yeah.
There's $1 zillion in there.
That's like
How do you know?
that's like $3,000. That's not a zillion. I mean, to that kid's age, that's a lot of money. I remember when I saw a $100 bill when I was 12, and I'm like, oh, I could buy the whole world with this. And now it's like 10 years later, it's like $100 isn't anything anymore. It feels like I feel the inflation. That's what I'm trying to say. And it feels terrible. I just disconnected the plug or something.
I've never seen $1 zillion before.
$1 zillion.
Do you care to explain yourself, Mother? Because, it looks like you can easily afford my Vision Pro.
Oh, I hate this mentality. You have enough money to afford.
Not for anything else.
Hey kid, by the way, this is the economy of 2024. Oh wow, 2023 when this upload was made. Pretty sure you have to pay taxes, and you have to pay property tax, utilities. I cannot talk. I'm sorry. You have to pay all this stuff, dude. By the time you act like if I had $200 at a week start, I would probably have only a few bucks left from utilities, from property tax, all this bullcrap that the government usually does to like make you pay. I mean, this isn't a really fun world to live in because of how much money you actually have to spend to keep yourself alive. You actually barely even get money back or to yourself, which is why life savings like this is very important. By the way, I've never seen people do this in 2023 or 4. I never see people boxes. Usually they just use an electronic account, but hey, hats off to you. Use cash. Use it or lose it.
Wait. So what you're saying is that's our money?
No, it's not.
If that's the case,
You can see how she.
easily afford my own Vision Pro. Did you hear what I said about college fund? You're
Yeah, buddy.
this
College.
until you graduate. Mom, that will not
Trust
be
me.
500 years from now. And besides,
It's gonna bite. You're going to bite yourself in the ass later because when you go to college, you realize how expensive it is. You're like, uh-oh.
Oh shoot. I'm missing one of the envelopes. I'll be
Ooh.
right back.
ooh,
Dude, don't touch.
Aspen Dental offers 20% off treatment plans.
That is so random.
Making it easier to get started with quality care.
Tired of TurboTax?
But,
And do your own taxes with H&R Block.
my God.
Mikey, check for star notes. Hey, Mikey, if you're gonna go through your parents' cash, which, don't do this, please. At least see if you can look for star notes, or see if you can find some rare bills, like some pre-1960 bills. You know what I mean? See if you can find some rare stuff and sell it for more money.
This is at least $3,500 right here that I need.
Are those 20s?
Don't even think about it.
I have to see that. Are those 20s? Because I can judge if that's... I have to see it.
Don't even.
Those are 20s! And 100s. That looks like about... That looks like 20... That 20s, it looks like probably about 500. Trust me, it takes a lot of 20s to make 1,000. I've made $1,000 bundles out of 20s with some of my dad's money. And trust me, it's like this thick. He does a lot of buying and selling, so he actually has a lot of like cash available to us. Although he just spent it all on, I don't know, like probably like pellets for our stove. But that's not even a whole lot of money right there. That's probably like 2,500. Actually, scratch that. That could be about $3,000 over there in the
Think
hundreds.
about it.
Again.
The only people authorized to go in this box, let alone take anything out of it, are me and your father. Let's go. We're leaving now.
Man, the only thing standing between me and my Vision Pro is that little box and that 42-year-old life giver.
Oh gosh.
There's gotta be a way to get in.
I can't take kids that have this mentality. That their parents are just like, must buy them everything.
But you should probably stop thinking about it.
Kid, get a job.
You heard what Mom said. That
Trust me, kid, just get a job. It does not matter if it is minimum wage. Even when you have a minimum wage job, personally speaking, do you know how great that feels? Again, there is nothing better. No more pride you'll ever get in your life than getting your first paycheck. That's a new meaning of life right there. That means that no more relying upon your dad or your mom. You make your money. It's not like you get something from your dad, it's your dad's thing, but it's actually yours. No, and I earned it. Trust me, it feels great to not have to rely upon your parents for money. And plus, you're gonna get more money off of working than you are going to from your parents. Trust me, even if they're really, really generous, you're gonna get more money if you just go to work and actually, you know, do a minimum wage job. Even if they're minimum wage, trust me, it still is a good money maker.
money is ours. So, technically, it's not wrong to take back what's mine.
I know these are satire. These are all like staged. They're clearly staged. They're all actors.
This isn't gonna work. You heard what Mom said. Only
What are they doing with a creeper?
Yeah.
Should I be concerned? Should I call protectors on the creeper?
Just like that.
Except the fact that he's 6 feet taller than you are.
Jaden, you act like you're talking to an amateur. Okay.
Oh God, I see what he's doing. He's gonna try to.
Whoa. 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 Whoa.
Oh, he's trying to be tall.
Okay. Give me no assistance.
Bank people are not stupid. Bank tellers are not dumb. They will be able to suss out anything you do.
Nope. I'm not being a part of this. So whatever you have in your mind, don't ask.
Come on. Just sit right here. I'm not asking you to do
Okay, you got the height correct, but you need to have a voice. Your voice isn't masculine or way too masculine enough to actually match an adult. So you're gonna have to get past that. Also, you're going to need to get access into the vault, which either you do a crime and you break in. Don't recommend that. Please just don't commit a crime. I think that goes without saying. Don't actually commit crimes. Or two, you're going to need to have an actual account with them. or you're going to need to like get your VIN number or VIN. That's like saying I know what I'm saying, but anyway. The only way you can, you could exchange money, but you're gonna have to have money there. You can not be a member and actually exchange your money in some banks.
Else?
Mikey, what are you doing? Hey.
Don't try to stand up, come on.
Mikey, I can't breathe in here.
Guess I do need you after all.
No, absolutely not. There's no way I'm gonna.
Hey, oh.
Uh-oh, they broke a vase. It probably has your reading box in it.
Mom loves that vase. She's gonna kill me.
You're right. She will.
It's a fact. In the new economy, average people are becoming millionaires faster and easier than ever.
No! In the new economy, people are becoming millionaires. We're going broke. The economy sucks. Damn it! The economy is so bad. Where are you going?
Unless you had some money to buy her a new one, so that you never know.
Oh goodness, you just trapped
Or
yourself.
I could just tell her. Your choice.
Oh, you're so
I'm
mean.
gonna have a heat stroke in here.
We have to blood cover. Stay in there. Suck it up.
They can literally tell you're an adult, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
No. Hello. Can I help you?
Okay, yep. There we go. I like how this bank teller is looking at somebody who is like average, like 7 foot tall, sounds like a kid. Nothing wrong to see here. Although, again, first of all, when you go up to a bank, they'll do their teller desk in two ways. They'll have it either open or sometimes a little bit more uncommon. You'll actually find them behind bulletproof glass. Now, trust me, they have the glass ones. So yeah, there's your first problem. You try to even go and try to get through the glass, obviously you're going to get restrained, and some of these banks have little quick dial emergency buttons. Sometimes they're located under the desk. So that means that if they are being attacked, they press the button and they immediately call the police, no ifs, ands, or buts. So if you even try to rob these guys, they will call the cops very, very quickly. I go to a bank, and just right around the corner is the police department, which actually makes it like the worst bank to rob in the entire part of my area. Because the moment you rob, it's just right around the corner. And I'm not saying don't rob these guys. Come on, be nice to bank tellers. Bank tellers are nice. People think they're all mean old people. Actually, I've never seen really old. I don't really see old bank tellers.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, my name is Sam Miller. I am here to get into my safety deposit box, please.
First,
Mr.
hold on.
Miller.
Yes.
What's your number?
What is your date of birth?
There you go. They don't usually ask that when it comes to terms of banking. At least I don't know. I've actually had to access I've actually accessed banks that I've not been a member of and that I have been a member of, and they've never asked me my date of birth. However, if I do have if you're gonna withdraw, first of all, you don't have any money to exchange. You're gonna be withdrawing it, I assume. You're gonna want to know the dude's PIN. You know, it's a 4-digit number that you use to get in your bank. I know everybody knows this by now, but for people that don't know, you have this little four number code, and it's only unique to you. You only know it, and you need to use it to get into your bank account.
Oh. It is August.
Yes, I would.
1921.
1921. You look very good for someone 102 years old.
Wow, did I say 1921? Oh, God. Okay, I'm sorry. I meant to say 19.
This hurts to watch.
71. It has been a long morning for me. Not had my morning coffee.
Not gonna lie, the guy does look good for being over 100 years old.
You know what? Excuse me one moment. I'm gonna make an authorization call. Okay?
1921. Come on, Mikey.
Listen, I'm going to jail, Jada. I'm going to jail.
No, we're going to jail. I told you this.
No. They're just gonna say, hey, can you leave the bank? Get out of here. We don't service people that are scammers, or like you're not gonna go to jail. They're just gonna ask for a verification call. Trust me, I've had to have my number verified. You're not going to jail. You just gotta verify it. That just means they're unsure whether you're truthful or not. So they're gonna see if you are like eligible to do the transaction.
A bad idea.
Okay, if the police say anything, you have to say lawyer. Understood?
What?
Wait, police are what?
Right this way, Mr. Miller.
All right, thank you.
You know, your wife was in yesterday, and she said that you were out of town.
Oh, my wife. Yeah. I actually was, but, you know, had to come back early, you know, for,
I could lie better than this.
Grown-up stuff. You know how it is.
Of course. Yes, come on back. Are you okay back there?
Oh, yes. My allergies are kicking in. Start sneezing. Damn it!
Sorry, this food is dusty.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, myself. Sorry. You know what they say? A king assists to themselves.
Wait, how did he get to the bank? Did he drive here?
Anyway, here you are. Just give the key back to me when you're done, okay? And just remember, it's number 097.
Big sir.
Wait, is he actually gonna leave him alone? You idiot! No, why? They're in a bank vault. There's only one bank vault I've ever seen. You could almost walk into the vault, but it's like, no, you don't want to really risk getting arrested. But okay, now you're in a bank. Usually all these little boxes are locked with a key held by the banker. Usually, if I'm not wrong, only one will probably be distributed at a time. So yeah, without a drill, you ain't getting in there, little boy. So you're only limited to the one thing.
I almost made
Why is the banker not paying attention? With that coat, he could have easily concealed a drill.
Favorite supplement in my gym bag, the Hydroxy Hardcore Ultra Shred gummies. They take.
What the hell is that name?
Where are your parents? Parents? Does it look like we need chaperones? We're only doing that, trust me. You ever heard of Benjamin Button? Yeah, that's pretty much us. Oh, you two are funny. And so adorable. Oh boy. I need to go to the restroom. Okay, that was the first one.
That was a vault door closing? Yeah.
Let's go.
Usually they keep the vault door open for the day and they close it at night.
I'm rich. Yes.
You have oh.
I don't have a good feeling about this, Mike.
Wait. Where did he get this? Okay, so let's draw. I'm sorry if I'm being a little bit too hyper realistic here. Okay, let's break this down. So the kid got the vision, whatever this thing is. And not only that, but he actually had to go from his house to the bank, and from the bank to a Best Buy, because you can't just take cash and order something. No, you have to actually go to the place and buy it with cash, which I've never seen one of these bad boys. But like, yeah, he had to go to a place. How is he getting here? Like, how is this kid doing this? Is he driving illegally? Probably.
Bad choices always come with worse consequences.
So like, how the heck did this kid get to a store without getting like robbed or kidnapped?
There aren't gonna be any consequences. I'm not gonna get caught.
Mikey, why is this door locked?
I'm changing, one sec.
Why was the store locked? What are you hiding?
No.
Well, there's my vase. I've been looking all over for that. Gotta put your laundry away.
Oh no, Mom. You're not allowed to do that?
What is going on?
Okay. I thought since I was 13.
Wait, 13-year-old. He didn't really rob a bank. He just, to a point, he robbed it. But like, he just took out of his deposit, of his mom's deposit box. I wouldn't really say that's way too much robbing a bank. He just basically stole from his parents.
I should probably put my own clothes away, you know?
You, Michael Miller, want to put your own clothes away?
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm gonna do it. Hello?
Mrs. Miller, this is Miles Grady from So You Save Bank. I have some bad news. Your safety deposit box was broken into this morning.
What?
Maybe if you would actually watch the
Do you know
deposit
who
box.
did it?
Not yet, but we're reviewing our cameras and should know soon. We're truly sorry about this.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know. Please keep me posted. What is this world coming to? Who would do such a thing?
I have no clue. Wasn't me.
I gotta call your father. Put your clothes away.
This is terrible. You literally just did this to this middle class mom, dude.
I told you this was a bad idea. I told you.
Dude, please, not now. Okay, we're gonna be fine, I know.
Okay, Mikey, this is your last chance. Are you sure you don't want to go with us to the bank? We gotta get that security box situation figured out.
I'm pretty sure. Huh. I opened my security deposit box, and my kid wanted the money in it, and now it just got robbed all of a sudden. Maybe he did it? I mean, it's fair to think that he wouldn't do it because she probably doesn't think he's possible of doing that.
Are you gonna return the vision pro and take back all of that money?
I already told you. No. Jaden, I just need to lay low. I'll be seen on that bank. It's too risky.
Let's go.
We just got this picture in. If anyone has any information, the police are offering a reward on anything that can lead to the arrest of this man or child, man-child. Authorities say that he could face up to 40 years in prison.
40 years?
If you wait until
Yeah, buddy.
you can lose up to 50 feet of visibility. Switch to Sylvania today. See better tonight.
Feel free to hire better and faster with Bamboo HR. Click below for a free trial now.
Okay. Alright, Mikey.
Whoa, robbing a bank carries jail time? What you?
Sure
Ugh.
that this is everything. No. Why don't you change your case again? Yeah.
Mr. Michael Miller?
Yes?
Done.
Mr. Miller, we have reason to believe you were involved in a recent break-in and so you saved bank safety deposit boxes. Where were you Tuesday morning around 10 a.m.?
Oh God. Okay, wouldn't you be like this kid pooping himself right now? I mean, some cops come up accusing you of robbing a bank, which he did. Yes, if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm reacting to this one Darwin video of this guy breaking into a bank because I'm kind of a fan of banking. Oh crap, not this again. Oh, well, this is expected. I'm stuck on the pillar. Just stuck on one of these core spires. Oh, how I do not like to get out. There we go. I'm out. I'm off the spire.
I'm only 13. I was fun playing video games. You like a normal kid.
Mr. Miller, do you recognize the person in these photos?
I have no clue. I'm sorry.
So what you're saying is, this is not you in these photos.
No, that guy's not me.
Is this Arnold?
So, whose strange coat is that anyway?
No, please, please, please.
Uh-oh. What his facial expressions are. He's with this old kid.
Heard you robbed the bank.
No, I'm just a kid.
What's wrong? I thought you were a big bad criminal.
No, I'm innocent, I swear.
You know, every criminal says that. Want to know what we do to criminals who lie like that? Last chance. It's alright.
Okay, wait. Just don't hurt me, please. I just wanted my mission bro. That's all. I thought everything.
This guy looks like Santa Claus.
Clearly, everything has went wrong. Don't hurt me. I will never lie to cheat again. Okay?
Oh, I've heard that before.
Mom, please get me out of here. Please, I'm sorry.
His face!
He's not a scary criminal. That's Mike. We work together at the hospital.
Oh.
I don't understand.
Oh, well. Then let me explain it to you. You see, the other day I got a call. It was Mr. Grady telling me you walked in with a disguise on, pretending to be Dad, and wanted access to the safety deposit box. I was gonna say no, but then I thought, let me see how far he goes with this. So I said yes.
Dude, this mom would almost do what I do. It's just
I
say.
gave you multiple opportunities to tell me the truth, thinking if you did, maybe your punishment wouldn't be as bad. But each time, you lied. So, I had two of your dad's friends in law enforcement come by and arrest you. So you see, this whole thing was staged. I knew what you were up to the whole time.
I saw the pink call you. And I heard the news. It was on TV. It's not
Right. Yeah. Again, I don't know why the bank would actually agree to that. Hey, how's it gonna react to it as well? And City, this guy called Retro Gaming Now, I think he's pretty cool. The Ancient Zombie Massacre of Minecraft. Deep
There's
dive.
something wrong with the Minecraft world. We don't usually think about it, instead preferring to explore or build or any other number of things to distract us. But despite all of this, it's hard to escape a sinking feeling, the idea that everything we see is in the shadow of some past apocalyptic event. There's evidence wherever we look. Ancient and abandoned structures decaying in faraway lands. A piglin society unable to reach their full potential. Yet, above all else, there's one big problem that becomes more unsettling the more we think about it. Throughout this world, there are undead enemies everywhere. Zombies, skeletons. During nighttime, an unthinkably large number of them begin to appear. They're very similar in size to the player. They can use much of the same equipment. It implies that there used to be an ancient species that had colonized the entire overworld, from the deserts to the ice fields. Yet, for some reason, every single one of them was infected, becoming undead. And through this seemingly mundane occurrence, hidden in plain of Minecraft, what happened? Welcome to Deep Dive, a series where we have been exploring the secrets of Minecraft. Tonight, we are finally going to look at what may be one of the most important events in the history of the Minecraft world. What happened to the ancient builders? This is a video that will certainly be best if you're completely caught up on the Deep Dive series, especially with these videos here. However, I'll still bring you along even if you haven't seen them. Just know that there will be some spoilers. With that out of the way, it's time to get going. Join me for a dive beneath the waves.
These videos are fun. Stop.
We're gonna take a journey back in time. Back before the player spawns, before the Ender Dragon, before the villagers and the piglins. We're going back to the start of our Minecraft timeline. The world is a much more peaceful place. Animals roam the land, eating grass and flowers. It's a new world, untainted by the presence of intelligent life. It's balanced, and the ecosystem grows and evolves naturally. But wait, out in the distance, there's a new group. They're humanoid and possess a sharp intelligence, and perhaps their most unique trait is their capability of construction. These are the ancient builders. Their true origin is unknown, yet here they are, quickly developing a society. These builders are extremely curious. They analyze the world around them, asking tough questions like why and what would happen if we tried this. They're experimentalists at heart, not happy with the current state of things. Instead, they look towards the future and want to progress themselves. It starts out
the
simple.
camera off to the side. I
Builders
can't see.
discover that wood is a useful material which can be used to create a crafting table. This allows
Oh,
for the
that's kinda
construction of
weird.
tools, a pickaxe which is suited for breaking stone. It doesn't end there. Stone can be used to make an even better pickaxe, or a sword, a tool useful for slaying the animals of the land for food. It can also create a furnace. No longer do they need to cook meat on a campfire. The furnace has the powerful property of being able to refine special types of rock called ores. This produces iron, a far tougher and more durable material. Iron pickaxes chew through rocks. They can also mine diamond and even stronger material found deep underground. As their society begins to grow, they start to become more organized. They construct massive underground mines necessary to get valuable resources to the surface. The builders no longer need to worry about basic needs like food and water. They can now afford to experiment with more complex technology. For example, the builders are discovering that there is a hidden layer to the world, a special type of magical energy. When harnessed, this energy can be infused into equipment, adding unique properties. Certain materials are more susceptible than others. Gold appears to be particularly attracted to magical energy.
Gold is really great for enchanting with.
Extremely resilient against the elements and dangers of the world, and they can now begin to spread out, settling in new places. Saddles coincide with the domestication of the horse, providing an effective land transportation method. The builders discover how to construct ships which can traverse the vast oceans with ease. This is helped by the development of redstone, allowing for timekeeping and navigational assistance from compasses. The builders continue to tinker with magic, and they start to think about various ways that elements could be combined. And in doing so, they make a startling discovery. Obsidian and heat creates a mysterious portal to a new dimension. The elements are extremely hostile, but it's worth the journey. The Nether contains powerful magical components. Using these, the builders discover potion brewing, a third use for magical energy. They construct massive nether fortresses as a place to farm blaze powder. But the nether has another draw to it. Deep underground, there's a new material called netherite that allows the builders to upgrade their diamond tools. It's so strong that the builders begin to construct bastions, outposts where they can set up mining operations to bring netherite to the overworld. Then, a startling development. Pigs, brought to the nether as a food source, have been transformed by the heat. Now they're piglins, a sentient species who are similarly intelligent to the builders. But the builders don't care about that. In the piglins, they see little more than a group capable of doing the dangerous netherite mining for them. So they dominate them, redesigning the bastions to make it very dangerous to leave. They move their portals to distant locations, trapping the piglins and giving them no choice but to mine. If the piglins never know anything else, perhaps they won't rebel. Back in the overworld, the builders are discovering new technology at an amazing rate. The eye from an ancient sea beast can be used to construct a conduit, which allows for safe building underwater. The builders create even bigger ships designed to go on deep-sea hunting expeditions. The group has also domesticated phantoms, a flying beast that is attracted to weakness, which can be used for search and rescue operations. Their society is flourishing with new discoveries. And then, suddenly, visitors. Out of the void, a group of mysterious figures appears. They are tall, they can teleport using interportals, and they're allergic to water. But they're just as smart as the builders, possessing the same instinct to create an experiment. These Endermen come from a faraway dimension. They've discovered how to get to the overworld, but not how to return. The builders, however, have experience with interdimensional teleportation, and they know that heat and hard materials are two crucial components. Working together with the Endermen, they discover how to create the end portal using materials the Endermen brought with them. Blaze powder from the Nether combined with an Ender Pearl and a special frame is the secret formula. The Endermen can finally return to their home world, and the builders follow them. What happens next is a rich exchange of ideas. Endermen explore the mysteries of the overworld and the Nether, while the builders discover the bizarre properties of the End. It is a period of collaboration and unity never before seen in the Minecraft world. But something is starting to happen. Some of the builders are transforming, becoming grisly, half-dead versions of themselves. And this is happening in the Nether too. Some of the piglins are exhibiting similar symptoms. It could spread very easily. A bite from one of these infected beings would cause similar effects in the victim. It appears as though the builders have a novel disease on their hands. And they start to realize that this had the potential to become a serious problem. If unchecked, the plague could consume the land. A plague so cruel as to destroy the mind and flesh of whoever was infected. But the builders had overcome problems before. They discovered how to reach the Nether. They'd unlocked the secrets of potion brewing, developed magic, built the conduit. What could a minor sickness possibly do to an indestructible group like the ancient builders? So the race was on to find a cure, and the builders put their vast library of knowledge to use. The virus, while deadly, was still relatively contained, but they couldn't delay as it would spread quickly with a bite, and the growing number of zombies had the builders cautious for the future. So the builders organized a conference with their best and brightest minds. The great scientists and leaders collectively had a chance to solve this problem. But how? Maybe if they could understand the plague, they could understand how to exploit its weaknesses. The plague seemed to be magical in some way. It only affected certain beings, and while the builders were highly susceptible, some mobs were not. This included all nether mobs, as well as enemies like spiders. Cows and sheep and other livestock were not affected. The Endermen were safe as well. What if there was a way to use parts of the mobs that were immune? Could that possibly lead them to a cure? Potion brewing, of course. Why not try ingredients of immune mobs? Rabbits, turtles, none of these mobs seem to do anything. What about spiders? They weren't mammals and were totally safe from the virus. A potion of weakness using a fermented spider eye. Would this cause the virus to subside? But there was still something missing. The status effect wasn't good enough on its own. There had to be a way to augment weakness to destroy the virus. To add a kick of magical energy. How though? So the builders thought back to all their magical experiments of the past. There was a material that seemed designed to hold magical energy. Gold. Could gold be what they were looking for? But how to get it into a zombie? What if it was edible, like an apple? And the magical combination worked. Weakness and a golden apple. But not just any golden apple. The builders dug deep into their archives and produced the recipe for an enchanted golden apple. No one knew how to make it except for them, just another in their long list of magical advancements. Their search had reaped its rewards. Finally, a way out, a way to save the species. If this plan was going to work, the ancient builders would need lots and lots of gold. Where could they find that? Gold was everywhere in the Nether, and a plan started to form. What if they could use their piglins, stop the netherite mining, and now target gold? But as we learned in the Piglin Deep Dive, these creatures were not robots. They were an intelligent species with a culture and society. Yet the builders did not care. The builders could very well have traveled to the Nether themselves to mine the gold. They could have taken responsibility instead of forcing innocent piglins to work their whole lives. But they didn't choose that path. The Bastion infrastructure was in place, and the piglins were already sentenced to a life of mining. So the command was sent to the Bastions: mine gold.
Yeah, that's why they like gold.
The piglins went into the dark mines and they toiled away, working harder than ever, forced by the ancient builders. The builders organized trips, moving gold from the Bastions to the portal to the overworld, where apples could be created. They became quite efficient, with specialized chests on either side of the portals designed to ease the process. Yet, a question presented itself. Where were the builders going to store this gold anyways? Vast troves of valuable material presented a tempting target for thieves and raiders. It would need to be kept in a location that was extremely well defended, but simultaneously, it needed to be very easy to access by an authorized builder during an emergency. And then, a brilliant idea. The ocean. The builders already employed a vast navy. Could they store the gold somewhere deep underwater, perhaps along established trade routes? Building underwater was not tricky. They'd been experimenting with a conduit for years, which provided protection and oxygen. Perhaps they could design a structure that took advantage of this, impossible to access without a conduit.
Exactly, ocean monuments.
They could also construct a powerful golem as a defense mechanism, a being that would protect the life-saving gold at all costs. A guardian. Their goals, all with the signature flair of their construction style. This would be a monument to their success against the virus. The gold stored within was proof of their superior intellect, their inability to fail, their control over the natural world. The builders were prepared for the worst, but they would come out on top. After all, what could go wrong? But despite their best efforts, the plague continued to spread. It didn't seem to matter how much gold they brought from the Nether, the disease always outpaced them. So they made the piglins work harder and harder, more gold. Why wasn't it working? Why were things getting worse? Was it possible they made a mistake? Where's this virus even from, anyways? And then it dawned upon them. All of their efforts, all of their mining operations, their vast ocean networks were only creating more issues. Because the virus wasn't from the overworld after all. No. The builders were bringing more than just gold from the nether.
Ooh. I think I've heard that area. It's from the nether. Map how to do it?
A critical mistake. All of their efforts to stop the spread of the virus were only bringing it to more places. Their ships, their nether chests. Oh no, it was everywhere. The builders were beginning to recognize the true depth of their error. Their search and rescue phantoms, infected, their capability to seek out weakness only brought the virus to the most faraway lands. Their horses, some of them were infected too. Terror began to set in. Was this the end? The overworld was quickly becoming uninhabitable. So the builders began to retreat, modifying the strongholds deep underground to serve as a defensive location for the time being. But this would not work in the long term. The disease was still able to get underground. The issue was that the overworld provided the perfect conditions for the disease to thrive. While it originated in the nether, the heat caused it to be relatively contained. Furthermore, all of the native mobs had developed natural immunity. But at the cooler overworld, the virus was no longer suppressed. It also found a huge population who were susceptible, leading to the explosion of zombification. But the builders are seeing it in retrospect. What good does that do now? The world is broken. They can't go to the nether without spreading the virus further. The end, while safer, is still inhospitable to the builders. No, they need something else. They need to think outside the box. What the builders need is another dimension, an escape. So they turn to the Endermen. The builders asked if it would be possible to create a portal to a new dimension. But the Endermen had become wary of the builders, distrustful of the way they treated the piglins, and unamused by their hubris. Why should the Endermen risk their own lives to save the builders from a downfall of their own design? The answer is no. But the builders cannot accept it. Desperate for survival, they turn on the Endermen. They send whoever they have left to the end, armed with swords and deadly liquid water. They threaten the Endermen. Either try to make a portal, or the builders would slay as many of them as they could until they were defeated. The Endermen are enraged, betrayed by their closest allies. But they have to do it unless they are willing to go to war. So the Endermen get to work, thinking about ways to make a new portal. They need hard materials, so they collect vast amounts of obsidian. They also need heat and magical energy. The Endermen hadn't attempted a portal using anything from the nether, so they begin to experiment with various items from that dimension. And under threat of death, they found something. Eyes of Ender and gas tears can be used to create an in crystal, a new type of magical block. This would be the way for the builders to escape. This was the ticket out.
Well, I guess there's only one thing I know how to do now.
So the Endermen construct the portal, a huge design with 10 obsidian pillars. One by one, they place the end crystals on the towers. The builders watch anxiously, ready to cheat death and escape their certain doom. And Enderman places the final crystal. What's happening? This isn't right. Where's the portal? Something is wrong. Wait a minute. What is that? Oh no. What have they done? The builders have created a portal, but instead of letting them out, it's let something else in. It's a huge dragon from a distant dimension. A burst of energy destroys the exit portal, and the builders have no choice but to fight. But the builders are not prepared for such a battle, and the dragon is overwhelmingly powerful. It's only a matter of time before the dragon will surely slay the remaining builders. The builders have doomed not only themselves, but the Endermen too. Endermen in the overworld realize that they can never return to the end, so they remove Eyes of Ender from their portals in order to keep the overworld safe from the dragon. They destroy their stashes of gas tubes and seal off the stronghold from the surface to prevent anyone from accidentally unleashing the beast. The Endermen are exiled, but they know that they can at least keep the overworld and its inhabitants safe. Perhaps, one day, the dragon could be defeated, but they are incapable of doing it themselves. It's a new world. There's an irony here. The builders were so intent on doing what was best for themselves, no matter the cost to others. The piglins suffered, the Endermen suffered, but ultimately, the builders themselves suffered as well. And the world they left behind was not the world they came into. The post-builder era was dominated by the plague. Their actions had fundamentally changed the structure of the world. The piglins knew nothing but mining, and even without the ancient builders, they continued to do the only thing they knew, even as the bastions began to deteriorate. They grew obsessive over gold, a material that was ultimately meaningless to them, but for the brainwashing of the builders. The Endermen were cut off from the amazing new dimensions they discovered. They became a fractured species. Pockets of them remained in the overworld and the nether, but these Endermen would never return home. The image of the ancient builders was seared into their minds, so much so that even a single glance from someone who looked similar would send them into a fit of rage. Yet, despite the betrayal, the Endermen still had hope that a savior would one day free them. As time went on, evidence of the builders began to disappear. Their cities were washed away, their nether portals broke down. Soon, only the toughest structures remained, the monuments, the pyramids, and the preserved ancient shipwrecks. But not all hope was lost. The world slowly began to heal over the course of thousands of years. New societies began to develop. The peaceful villagers, and eventually the witches and illagers. These groups learned to survive in this brutal environment. The shadow of the builders' actions remained. The zombie plague was now a deep part of the dynamics of the overworld. Yet there were societies built to overcome such issues. It didn't have to be this way. The builders didn't have to abuse the world around them. But it happened, and everyone paid the price. And then, one day, from the void, a newcomer spawns into the world for the first time. Who are they, and why are they here? That's a story for another day. There we have it. That's my theory. As with all deep dives, I encourage you not to think of this as absolute truth. Instead, consider the facts and make up your own opinion. I'm really excited to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and tell me if this seems plausible to you. I also want to encourage you to come over to the Retro Gaming Now Discord server. We have an awesome community, and we'd love to have you there. This is such a fascinating topic with a lot of room for interpretation. What do you think? We're also approaching a pretty big subscriber milestone. 250k is no joke. Keep an eye out. I want to do something special for when we get there. We'll go ahead and end with that. This has been Retro Gaming Now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see everyone in the next video.
Our deep dive videos in order. I think he's got a playlist. I think I have my Minecraft Enderman theory.
You can't use our bathtubs.
With the exception of the Creeper, the Enderman is Minecraft's most well-known mob. But there's far more than meets the eye to the dark and lanky figure. Few things in Minecraft have as much mystery and ambiguity to their origins and reason for being. Who are these shadowy figures, and what do they want? To find the answer, we must examine the clues, both subtle and hidden in plain sight. In doing so, we can learn about the true story of Minecraft. Welcome to Deep Dive, the first in a series of episodes where I try to learn about the strangest and most obscure parts of games. The Enderman is a great place to start. They are an ocean of mystery. Join me for a dive beneath the waves. Endermen are different from other mobs in many ways. They're neutral mobs that only attack if provoked. They can pick up blocks, but they spawn in all three dimensions. Perhaps nothing is more interesting than their teleportation capabilities. Seemingly at will, they can almost instantaneously move up to 32 blocks away. When we look at the other Minecraft mobs, this is such a unique ability. Zombies, skeletons, and their variants can walk. Spiders can climb, but so can real-life spiders. And several mobs can fly, although these are typically more advanced enemies, such as the Phantom or the Ghast. But in the overworld, no other mob can teleport. If we can figure out a way to understand how teleportation works, then perhaps this will set us on a path to understanding who the Endermen are. To do so, we must travel to the end. This place is dominated by the Endermen. But they're not the only life form here. In fact, they're not even the most populous. In terms of sheer numbers, chorus trees vastly outnumber Endermen. But Retro, that's not fair, you say, because chorus trees are plants. And you'd be exactly right. But I'm going to make the argument that the chorus tree is the root to solving the mystery of the Endermen. Soon, you'll see why that's important.
Chorus roots.
Let's take a look at some properties of the chorus tree. It was based off the Joshua tree, endemic to a small region of the American West. Chorus trees have multiple branches and can grow to very tall heights. They also produce chorus flowers. Planting a chorus flower on endstone is enough for a new tree to grow. This is not too atypical. There's a phenomenon called vegetative reproduction, where a new plant grows from the fragment of a parent plant. So everything is good, right? Well, not quite. The strangest thing is the chorus fruit, which comes from the plant body when broken, not from the flower as we would typically expect. This fruit also does not contain seeds. We can't craft chorus tree seeds from the fruit in the same way that we can with melon or pumpkin. Again, this can happen in real life, so nothing we've seen so far is strictly out of the question. The chorus tree is just a plant that happens to have some unusual characteristics. But everything changes when we actually take a bite out of the chorus fruit. We then discover its most important property. It allows the player to teleport short distances randomly. My theory suggests that this right here is the first place where teleportation occurs in the Minecraft universe, as it's the only non-sentient life form that allows this to happen. Since right now we're trying to understand teleportation, I'm going to make a list called the teleportation pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid will have the most simple types of teleportation, those which have the fewest requirements and are the most common in Minecraft. As we work our way up, fewer natural occurrences. Hopefully, this will create a picture of how teleportation works. So, I'm going to put chorus fruit teleportation at the very bottom of the pyramid for several reasons. Within the end, it's by far the most widely available form of teleportation, but it's also the weakest. There's no way to decide where to go, and its range is only 8 blocks. My argument is that all other forms of teleportation are either enabled by or inspired by the chorus fruit. It's the common ancestor. If we go far enough back, we'll always end up at the chorus fruit. And there's a big piece of evidence for this in the end, the shulker. Shulkers can teleport. When breaking the block they sit on, they'll teleport up to 17 blocks away to land on another block. This is actually pretty important for a few reasons. First, it seems fairly likely that their teleportation is based upon chorus fruit. Cooking chorus fruit results in popped chorus fruit, which can be used to craft purple blocks which look very similar to shulkers. It's not a stretch to think that shulker shells are actually derived from chorus fruit, and that this has something to do with their teleportation capabilities. The second interesting thing is that it's implied that shulkers have some level of sentience. They can choose where their teleportation takes them, since they'll always land on another block if they can find one. This is the first place we see controlled teleportation. Somehow, shulkers have managed to harness the properties of the chorus fruit. This puts them squarely above chorus fruit on the teleportation pyramid. But how? What are they doing that allows them to control their teleportation, instead of just randomly zipping around? We'll get to that soon.
The first rule of marketing, never do the same thing twice.
I can't use FanDuel. I can't legally gamble.
I got it. This is all well and good, but you may be wondering what shulkers have to do with Enderman. After all, you clicked on this video to learn about Enderman, not chorus fruit. So let's switch gears for a little bit and talk about them. I think it's clear that the Endermen are the most intelligent mob within the end, and perhaps in all of Minecraft. I mentioned a few of these features in the iceberg videos, including their human-like speech. But one of the clearest indicators of their intelligence is their building capability. This is one of the things that makes Minecraft, well, Minecraft. It's even in the name. Fundamentally, we can boil the game down into destroying things in the world, mining, and building things in the world, crafting. Lots of mobs can destroy things, such as the creeper. The Endermen are the only mob which can do both, by picking up and placing blocks. Endermen are creators at heart, the mob which is the truest embodiment of what Minecraft is. Their home of the end, however, is a very limited place. There's an extremely small number of blocks to work with. They can use endstone and create purple blocks from chorus trees, but beyond that, there's just not much. So, being the creative beings that they are, they tried to find unique ways to use their limited materials. Somehow, the Endermen were able to develop the Ender Pearl, a much, much more powerful teleportation device than chorus fruit. The word pearl is very important. What is a pearl? Well, it's a hard object produced by mollusks, such as oysters or mussels. These animals often have hard shells with a soft, fleshy interior, and the pearl develops on the inside. Does that remind you of anything we've seen in the end? That description sounds very similar to the shulker. What if ender pearls grow naturally in shulkers, and it's the reason that shulkers can control their teleportation abilities? Could the Endermen have recognized this and figured out a way to harvest the pearls? This happens in real life, as cultured pearls are commonly produced using mussel or oyster farms. We can only find shulkers in cities. Perhaps the Endermen built these cities as farms for shulkers. There's a massive center column full of them, and they're also found scattered about the various rooms. The Endermen farmed thousands of shulkers, removing enough Ender pearls so that every Enderman could have the ability of controlled teleportation. So let's take a look at the teleportation pyramid again. I'm going to put Ender pearls at the same level as shulkers. I think they're very closely connected, and it's hard to know for sure which came first. The Endermen are a bit tricky. I'm inclined to think that they actually cannot teleport naturally. They need an Ender pearl as a tool. The only reason that they can teleport further away is because they're more intelligent than the shulkers. They both are using Ender pearls to control their teleportation. So I'm going to put them on the same level, but connected to the pearl.
Escape in the end.
If my theory is true, then this is what we've got now. Intelligent Endermen who can build structures. They've used these structures as massive shulker farms, allowing them to teleport between islands in the end. But even with this capability, they're still stuck in a barren wasteland. So, inevitably, they start to think about the potential of teleportation. Is it possible to use this newfound power in a way that can give them the resources they need to build more things? Is there more to see than just the wasteland at the end? I think that these questions led them to the development of the portal technology that allowed them to travel to the overworld. They cleared out a massive island in the end for safety, then created in-gateways to ensure that they would be the only ones who could teleport to and from the island. Then they constructed the portal in this safe zone, 1,000 blocks away from the rest of the islands. I don't think they knew exactly how this technology would work, which is why they were so cautious. But somehow they figured it out, and their portal worked. They sent some brave scout Endermen into the portal, equipped with pearls and other supplies. The scouts teleported to a very strange world indeed, with mysterious terrain, plants, and creatures. They were also shocked to find that there was no portal back home to the end. These Endermen were trapped in a bizarre dimension with no clear path back, and more importantly, no way to communicate to the others that they had survived. However, the dimension they spawned into was rich in resources. Hundreds of blocks they had never seen before were suddenly available, if only they could figure out a way back to the end. But it was a dangerous world too. This new dimension was rampant with a mysterious blue substance that burned in their skin. Even worse, it fell from the sky sometimes. The Endermen needed a safe place to live while they figured out what to do. A stronghold, if you will. So that's what they did. The Endermen got to work deep underground, away from the rain and various beasts that roamed the surface. Strongholds have a very similar block composition to inn cities, including bricks, stairs, and slabs. The Endermen quickly learned that stone was the most common material, and they built their strongholds accordingly. The Endermen spent a lot of time in this stronghold, researching their new world and learning everything that they could. They began work on a portal back to the end, but no matter what they did, they could never quite figure out how to activate it. This was, of course, only their second time using portal technology, and they still didn't have a clear idea of what the requirements were for interdimensional travel. At some point, one of the Endermen discovered a mysterious purple portal in the overworld. This connected to a different dimension, and, unlike their portal to the end, offered a two-way connection back and forth. The Endermen studied this portal, trying to figure out why it worked when theirs didn't. They knew that the portal was made of obsidian, an extremely hard material found in the overworld. They also realized that there was another important element: heat. The nether portal would only work if it was increased to a high enough temperature. Perhaps this was the secret that was missing in the return portal to the end. So the Endermen tried heating the end portal using lava, but it still wasn't enough. It somehow needed to be even hotter. They explored the nether more, looking for something that was hotter than lava. Eventually they found it: blazes. When killed, they dropped blaze rods, which could easily be ground up into a powder. And that was the key, the final piece to their puzzle. Combining blaze powder with Ender pearls produced a new, more advanced teleportation device, an Eye of Ender. Finally, the Endermen were able to complete their portal back to the end. Upon return, the scouts were
actually makes a lot of sense. It's so satisfying how well these theories go together.
The Endermen, in the end, still had no idea whether their portal actually went to another dimension or just killed whoever entered. But now there was proof. Live Endermen returning from the overworld. This allowed vast numbers of Endermen to leave the end and explore the overworld and nether. They developed their strongholds more fully, adding cages for experimentation on mobs, and libraries to store the secrets they had learned. They also built massive nether fortresses as a way to easily obtain blaze rods, which were useful for all sorts of things as they began to discover. Blaze rods could be used to create end rods, a source of light in their shulker farms. They were also crucial to potion brewing, a new technology that the Endermen experimented with in their cities. The Endermen also discovered that Eyes of Ender could create Ender chests, allowing for easy interdimensional travel of riches from the overworld to the end. The Endermen were flourishing as a society, and they grouped stationed in all three dimensions, some in the end, some in strongholds, and some in other fortresses. They had limitless creativity and limitless resources. What could go wrong?
Playing with fire.
Let's take a step back and update our teleportation pyramid. The end gateways are a little bit above Ender Pearls, allowing much further teleportation. Above that is the end portal and the nether portal, allowing for teleportation across dimensions. It appears as though a few things are necessary for interdimensional travel: heat and extremely hard materials. Nether portals are built from obsidian and are clearly activated using the heat of fire. End portals also use heat in the form of lava and Eyes of Ender. Furthermore, end portal frames are indestructible in survival, much like bedrock. The hardest one to explain is the exit portal, which the Endermen use to leave the end for the first time. It clearly satisfies the density requirement, but where does the heat come from? Some people are going to disagree with me on this part of my theory, but I think it's possible the end is much hotter than the overworld, although probably not as hot as the nether. There's never any day-night cycle, just constant light from the harsh sky. Endstone also looks bleached, almost like an asteroid with a moon. So maybe the heat requirement wasn't quite as strict when they built the exit portal. I'm not completely sure, so if you have any ideas about this, let me know. Anyways, the Endermen at least had a speculative recipe for interdimensional travel. I think it's only natural that they began to wonder how far it could take them. They discovered the overworld and the nether, and now they had many more types of resources to play with. Would it be possible to use the recently discovered obsidian and heat to find a 4th dimension? A 5th dimension? A 10th dimension even? Their minds raced with anticipation. Perhaps they were only at the surface level of a very deep iceberg of possibilities. So they began to look for new ways to build a portal, using the requirements that they had discovered. Someone realized that a gas dropped a tear, which, when combined with an Eye of Ender, produced a mysterious new crystal. Could this be the breakthrough they needed?
Starting over there.
They got to work, mining obsidian from the overworld and building massive pillars in the end, hoping that this amount of dense material would be enough to create a portal to a new world. After weeks and months of construction, they were finally ready. One by one, they placed the end crystals on the obsidian pillars, lighting them on fire as they went. The Endermen waited with nervous excitement until the final crystal was placed. But disaster struck. Instead of a portal to wondrous new riches, a terrifying beast appeared. It was a dragon, fueled by the cosmic energy of the end crystals. It destroyed the exit portal, severing the connection between the end and the overworld and nether. It broke the end gateway, trapping the Endermen on the main island. In an instant, the Endermen were suddenly a fractured species, split between dimensions. Endermen in the overworld realized that they could never return to the end, so they removed Eyes of Ender from their portals in order to keep the overworld safe from the Ender Dragon. They destroyed their stashes of gas tiers and sealed off the stronghold from the surface to prevent anyone from accidentally returning to the end. The Endermen were exiled, but they knew that they could at least keep the overworld and its inhabitants safe. Time passed, and the Endermen thought that they were forever separated from the other dimensions. But that wasn't true. The dragon was not immortal. Eventually, it died of old age, opening a portal back to the overworld. But it also dropped an egg, which would quickly spawn a new dragon like a phoenix from the ashes, empowered by the end crystals. The dragon head was used on end ships, which would allow the Endermen to quickly travel for the brief moments in time when the dragon was dead. No matter what they tried, however, the dragon would always respawn. They were never truly safe. So they lived in this cycle, trying to take advantage of the few moments where the dragon was dead and the portal opened. This was a purgatory of their own design. They tried to play God, but it was their downfall.
They should make it where you have to have the egg in order to summon the dragon, and if the egg is destroyed, the dragon respawns anyway. That'd be cool, like having to keep it into a secret containment and have to protect it from people or whatever. It's gotta be a really interesting concept. Legend, get on that. I'm making some room around.
This is the state of the Minecraft multiverse when the player starts a new game. So many years have passed that the nether portals have become broken, and only a couple Endermen remain in the overworld, with even fewer in the nether. New societies have developed. The simple-minded villagers, the scheming pillagers and illagers, and the jealous piglins. Strongholds have decayed and nether fortresses are overtaken by wither skeletons. Over time, the Endermen slowly lost their ability to build vast structures, only remembering how to pick up a few blocks. But somehow, in some way, the player appeared. The player was like the Endermen, capable of creating and destroying blocks in the world. The player was intelligent, unlike villagers, and the player was curious, exploring the world and building contraptions. Endermen in the overworld recognized this, only attacking if provoked and even trying to communicate with the player. It was no use, however. They could only hope that the player could figure things out on their own. Slowly, the player did, building vast structures, figuring out how to get to the nether, brewing potions, enchanting weapons, and eventually discovering the end portal. The player knew what they needed to do. They entered the portal, destroyed the end crystals, and killed the dragon once and for all, freeing the end from its eternal domination. So is the player a god? I'm not going to go that far, but I do think that in some ways they're the embodiment of the fundamentals of Minecraft, creating and destroying the world. From a lore perspective, we don't know why the player spawned suddenly, in the same way we don't know why Chorus Tree started growing, or why Endermen started in the end. At the end of the day, however, I think Minecraft is about the player. The player does everything the Enderman can do, but better. And ultimately, the player defeats the dragon, freeing the Endermen from their crucial mistake. And that's my theory. There's a lot there, so let's recap. Endermen began in the end as intelligent, creative creatures. They discovered that shulkers produced ender pearls with teleportation properties. They created cities using the resources in the end, but they wanted more, so they developed a portal to the overworld. However, it was one way. The scouts learned more about interdimensional travel using them to return in the end. With this knowledge, Endermen built huge structures to protect the portal back home and to farm blaze powder. But they got greedy, trying to build a bigger portal, which accidentally spawned an Ender Dragon. It wasn't until the player came that they were freed from the cycle of death and rebirth. I think my theory explains the biggest mysteries of Minecraft. Where does teleportation come from? What is an Ender Pearl? Who built the strongholds, etc.? I know that this is going to be compared to MatPat's theory, so I might as well explain what I think the strengths of my theory are compared to his. MatPat approaches it from an Enderman first perspective, which initially makes sense, as the Endermen are clearly very important. However, I've chosen a teleportation first perspective. This solves the biggest issue with his theory: where does the Ender Pearl come from? Now, to his credit, he recognizes this as a problem, but in my opinion, it's too big of a problem to ignore. I just can't find a way where the Endermen can develop teleportation in the overworld. At least in the end, there's precedent. The progression from Chorus Root to Shulkers to Ender Pearls has a lot of evidence, as I've explained. However, I'll be the first to tell you that my theory isn't wrong. The biggest problem is figuring out how the Endermen were able to make the portal out of the end. I'm not sure where the bedrock or even the torches came from. Honestly though, neither of us really has a good answer to how the Endermen discovered portal technology in the first place. In my theory, the Endermen learned through trial and error. It's like fire. Humans have used fire for hundreds of thousands of years, but it wasn't until relatively recently that we discovered exactly how it works. The chemistry, the chain reactions, and the specific components necessary for flame. Similarly, the Endermen built their first portal without knowing exactly how it worked, but eventually they got much closer to learning the ingredients. Still, they didn't fully understand what they were doing, and they accidentally spawned the dragon. Another minor problem actually drop Ender Pearls in me. If they did, then I'd be just about 100% confident in my Ender Pearl origin theory. One more question is, why would the Endermen need diamond armor and the like in the end? Why bring it over if they couldn't use it? I don't really know. There are a few odds and ends that I should mention. First, I think that Endermites are a type of parasite that grows in shulkers alongside Ender Pearls. That's why Endermen attack them. This happens in real life as well. Pea crabs can infest oysters and mussels. But what about silverfish? Why is there a silverfish spawner by the portal? My best guess is that it comes from some sort of a reaction with the nearby eyes of Ender in the portal. Maybe silverfish are a mutated version of Endermites? Spawners are a pretty complex topic from a lore perspective, so I'll save them for another video. Also, what are the Elytra? Why would Endermen need them if they could just teleport? I don't think these questions necessarily conflict with my theory, but they just might take some more thought to figure them out. So that's it. What do you think? Does it make sense, or am I completely
It actually does make
sense.
I like how everything just was there. The secret of Minecraft's ancient pyramids, the ocean monuments. This is about the ocean monuments. I'm gonna need to figure out how to get that cave. Oh my goodness, I hate
Minecraft is a game.
I hate this spire. Oh wait, I didn't get stuck to it, thank goodness. They need to shorten its range.
Dropped into a vast world with no guidance and forced to discover things on their own. Although mostly empty, there are some intelligent creatures around. However, not every place is a simple village. Scattered throughout the world is evidence of an ancient past in the form of large structures with richness deep inside. Who built these? What was their purpose? Why are they here? To find the answer, we must examine the clues, both subtle and hidden in plain sight. Perhaps we can discover the meaning behind these mysterious places, and in doing so, gain a greater understanding of the lore of Minecraft.
No.
Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive, where we examine the most obscure and interesting parts of games. There's a lot of stuff for us to find. Join me for a dive beneath
Come on, we're stuck.
But first, we have a sponsor, and it's BenQ with their space-saving for getting startled by a booby trap. Or maybe they found a large pyramid in the desert, falling down to find several chests of loot before suddenly being blown up by a TNT trap. Or the more adventurous explorer may have discovered a deep-water ocean monument defended by terrifying ocean guardians.
No, don't go that way.
Whichever category you fit into, there's something intriguing about these strange buildings. Where did they come from? Initially, we may think of villagers, as they seem to be the most advanced species in the overworld. But that doesn't quite make sense. First of all, villages don't spawn in jungle biomes, making it less likely that they built the jungle pyramids. Also, villagers exhibit no knowledge of redstone. How could they have constructed the complex booby traps in the desert and jungle temples? Furthermore, ocean monuments spawn deep in oceans, far away from the mainland. Villagers can swim, but just barely. Are we really supposed to believe that this bumbling society was able to construct massive underwater pyramids? I just don't buy it. So what about the next option, the Endermen?
Stupid freaking spire!
For the Endermen being the most powerful mob, as they're capable of creating and destroying the world. And from a basic level, the Endermen make sense. They're known to build in cities, and they spawn throughout the overworld. However, there are a few critical pieces of evidence that preclude them as candidates. Although they can pick up TNT, we have no evidence of them understanding how to build redstone, as found in jungle temples and desert pyramids. Furthermore, Endermen are notoriously allergic to water. Is it really conceivable that they would have chosen to build a massive structure in the ocean? And even if they could, why? It seems as though they were far more interested in resources from the nether, such as blaze rods. These questions are pretty hard to answer on their own. Evidence within the structures themselves is limited. We need to look elsewhere to find the clues that will lead us to the answer. Thankfully, there is something decomposing deep underwater. Let's literally take a deep dive, for once, to a structure added in the aquatic update, shipwrecks. Within the ocean biomes of Minecraft, we can occasionally find sunken ships. These aren't some little boats made with 5 wood on the crafting table. No, these were majestic vessels. Take a look at this excavated specimen. Notice its large length. It also has an internal room, presumably for the captain, as well as space for the deck. It even has places for cannons, and the chests contain equipment for battle, including gunpowder, TNT, and armor. The ships clearly were designed to use sails made with huge masts. They look very similar to an 18th century ship, although I don't have a nautical or historical background to give you an exact guess on the time frame. It appears as though these ships were designed for long voyages, as evidenced by the now moldy food stored within. There's a treasure chest that contains diamonds, bottles of enchanting, and other riches, as well as a chest with tactical equipment, such as books, compasses, maps, feathers, and clocks. Another thing worth pointing out is that shipwrecks can be made of almost every type of wood, from the more common oak and birch to rarer types including jungle and dark oak. Each ship also uses multiple types of wood at once. This seems to imply that the ships require some sort of transportation infrastructure just to be built. They most likely couldn't have been constructed by a single city in one place due to the necessary resources. All of this evidence points to seafarers that were well-traveled and used to sailing long distances. They had explored enough of the world to build their ships out of a variety of materials, and they mastered the art of preparation. They also had fairly advanced technology, with knowledge of navigation, writing, and enchanting. So the question remains, who were these sailors? Once again, I really don't think it was the villagers. The timeline is a major reason, since villagers exist in the world today, would they still be sailing and exploring? Villages also lack the infrastructure required for such large ships, and they don't spawn in jungle or dark forest biomes, both of which capture ship materials. We should consider the Internet for another reason, in ships. In the previous video, I proposed a theory where Internet began in the end and discovered a way to get to the overworld. Check that out using the card above.
No! The stupid views!
Before getting trapped in the end after accidentally summoning the dragon. Endermen weren't able to...
This is so annoying. I hate the stupid... I hate these stupid pillars so much. They're annoying.
Perhaps they were the ones who built these overworld ships. Although this kind of makes sense, it still doesn't explain...
I'll have to dig this out.
...who built the ancient monuments. I'm going to propose something that at first may seem a bit strange, but if you stick with me, hopefully I'll be able to explain it. I think that there was another species of builders in the overworld before the Endermen traveled there. I should mention that MatPat says something similar, although he believes that his species eventually became the Endermen. I disagree with that as explained in the Internet video. I'm going to suggest that these builders were the ones who built the ships we find in the overworld. All equipment implies that they were humanoid, armor, food, and the like. Even the height of the internal room is too short for the Endermen, but perfect for a 2-block tall person. I think the Endermen who came to the overworld stumbled upon these builders and learned things from them. Perhaps the art of enchanting, how to build nether portals, or how to make ships. Thus, the Endermen modeled their end ships after normal ships in the overworld. So if I'm correct in my assessment, these builders would have been in the overworld at a similar time to before the Endermen were
This damn thing is stuck on the pillar.
That isn't quite right. There's another big piece of evidence for them existing at one point. Zombies and skeletons. These undead creatures have the same dimensions as a humanoid player, and they are clearly different from villagers, Endermen, or even piglins. Some mass extinction event.
I hate these pillars sometimes.
But what? Well, we'll save that topic for another video. Let's return to the shipwrecks. From the chest contents, we know that the builders had knowledge of explosives and redstone. In fact, TNT only spawns in 2 places naturally, shipwrecks and, you guessed it, desert pyramids. We can't find it anywhere else, so it seems likely that the people who built the ships also built the pyramids. However, the shipwrecks have another important item hidden which I haven't mentioned. This is the treasure map, and it's the only item which is guaranteed to spawn within the ship. If we follow the map, we discover a chest buried deep beneath the sand. It contains the loot we might expect: gold, iron, diamonds, and the like. Nothing too special. However, one item catches the eye: the heart of the sea, again with 100% spawn rate. This is clearly important. It's the only thing that, no matter what, the treasure map leads to.
Again, they're a FanDuel ad. I cannot legally gamble, by the way. Just saying.
The heart of the sea is a strange blue ball, visually unlike any other Minecraft item. It does, however, have a use. It's a critical component in crafting the conduit. Simply surrounded by some nautilus shells and now one of the 6 types of items in Minecraft that are considered rare by the color. Music discs, beacons, and crystals. Similar to other rare items, the conduit is used by building a structure around it in the world. Constructing a prismarine cage underwater with the conduit in the middle activates it, and something fascinating occurs. The conduit powers up, transforming into a strange undulating entity. It attacks any hostile mob that approaches. It also activates the conduit power buff to anyone nearby, any player that is. I should point out that this doesn't work on Endermen. Conduit power is an incredibly useful trait. It includes water breathing, night vision, and haste. Essentially, it includes everything that would be necessary for something like, I don't know, an underwater building project perhaps? The conduit has the additional capability of being expanded up to a 96-block range with a full cage. Pop a few of these down, and building underwater becomes a breeze. I'm sure many of you in survival Minecraft have used the conduit for this exact purpose. So the shipbuilders now have this powerful underwater technology, and it led to 2 major effects. First, it enabled the builders to create vast ocean monuments with ease. But it also had the additional benefit of acting as a key to these monuments. Dive down and build a conduit, exploring the monument is no problem. However, without a conduit, an intrepid explorer would be quickly destroyed, unless they were particularly well equipped with potions and supplies. This is because of the Guardians. Before we discuss the Guardians, though, I want to suggest an interesting idea. When the conduit is activated, the buff symbol looks very similar to an eye. The same symbol is in the particle.
And when you if you like fully power the conduit, it opens like an eye.
Comparing that symbol to the heart of the sea, it almost looks as though the left is a closed eye and the right is an open eye. Is it possible that the heart of the sea name is more symbolic, and this item is actually some sort of eye? Consider, what if the purpose of the ancient ships was for more than just exploration? What if they were searching for something, a deep-sea monster whose eyes have special properties? A giant squid, perhaps? Were all the weapons and explosives on board not used for war against other people, but for battle against an ancient and powerful being?
I like where that's
could have sent
going.
their ships out to find these beasts before hiding the treasure deep underground for later retrieval. It's a thought that seems at least somewhat plausible to me, and it gives a reason for the supplies on board. Even if we don't know exactly where the heart of the sea came from, we need to talk about the Guardians. Guardians are fish-like mobs that only spawn near ocean monuments. They come in two varieties, the smaller, standard variant, and the larger, stronger version found deep within, called the Elder Guardian. Guardians are very unique. They have a bizarre laser attack that hits targets precisely at a distance, and their eye follows the player continuously. However, vision seems to be their only sense. If a player hides behind a block, Guardians become unaware of the player and forget about them. It's almost as though they're programmed to do one thing and one thing only, attack enemies on sight. They're not smart enough for anything else. The Elder Guardian is similar. It attacks players that it can see with a laser. It's also capable of inflicting mind fatigue on a player at a long distance. These traits seem especially useful in preventing an unauthorized person from exploring the monument. Some of you probably already see where I'm going with this. I'm not going to make an absolute statement, but I think we at least need to consider the possibility that the Guardians are mechanical. Let's break it down. Guardians look similar to real-life naval mines used to protect waters from enemy ships. Elder Guardians also cannot reproduce or respawn. Each monument comes with 3 of them. Once they're gone, they're gone forever. The world has a limited number. Also, both types of Guardians look as though they're made from prismarine bricks. The texture is very similar, and killing either type can result in prismarine shards. Guardians can also survive above water, something that no fish in Minecraft can do. This implies that, despite their tail fins, they aren't actually fish. They're something meant to look like fish. For even more evidence, let's listen to a few of their sounds.
That's when they're underwater. When they're outside water, they're weird.
This is subjective, of course, but they don't sound natural at all to me. Even their high-pitched noises on land sound like some sort of polyphonic synthesizer.
They do sound like a music synthesizer.
For the sake of argument, let's assume that the Guardians are indeed mechanical. Remember what I was saying earlier about the conduit being a key to the monument? The conduit seems to be almost perfectly suited to counteracting the effects of the Guardians. In fact, they're attracted to it like a moth to a flame, only to be zapped and destroyed. Maybe Guardians don't have an off switch, but the conduit essentially makes them useless. What if the ancient builders intentionally constructed the Guardians in such a way that the conduit would counteract them? It seems like they were the only ones who had access to Hearts of the Sea, since they only occur in one place in the world. So by building mechanical Guardians, they didn't need to worry about an on-off switch, since the conduit would protect them, and only them, from harm in the monuments. It's actually a pretty clever evolution of their earlier traps. Jungle pyramids could be broken in by trying every combination, or by just breaking the blocks. Desert pyramids are only safe if you don't know about the TNT. Once you've fallen for it once, it's easy to just break the pressure plate a second time. But the ocean monument? Well, you can't just force your way in because of the mining fatigue.
You gotta actually... You actually have to fight through it. Bring a cow, kill the Guardians. If you don't have a cow or good skill at the game, you aren't getting in. It doesn't matter if you want to or not. You are not getting in. You gotta actually pry your way in there. Ice, just bring a cowy cow. Or tons of milk. Ooh. Oh, what? Polar plunge? No. You did. By the way, you need to steer clear of the misconception that cold causes cold. That's fake. That is completely false. You caught it from somebody. That's what. You don't catch the cold from getting cold. It's a disease. It's spread like the flu. No. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think that's this pillar with a plant stuck inside of it. Now, a normal player would be like, oh, this is not possible, and they would rage quit, but I have a good idea. Dynamite. Dynamite will... if you actually don't know, there's soil stuck in this pillar, and dynamite should be able to get rid of it. I have a little bit. I need to dispose of dynamite anyway, because even though this is a private session, I don't want too much dynamite lingering around. If I let someone in and they have the wrong intentions, it's easily able to blow my butt sky high. So yeah, I'll definitely be back here and I'll definitely blow this thing out. Yes, my Star Note hoard is growing like very fast. I have like 38 bucks of them already. I found a $5 Star Note.
Neutralized with the right item. If you control that item, you control the fortress. Let's take a step back for a second. A race of ancient seafaring beings explored the world and found many riches along the way. They hid some of these in jungle temples and some in desert pyramids, which were protected by fairly simple safeguards. However, they also created ocean monuments, which were far harder to loot and destroy. The only way it would be feasible to access them would be through the use of the heart of the sea, which were buried deep under the sand, and could only be found using treasure maps. The jump from above-ground pyramids to huge underwater monuments is a massive leap in complexity. However, it seems as though the builders experimented with smaller underwater structures first. Underwater ruins are similar in composition to jungle pyramids with mossy stone, or desert pyramids with sandstone. They also sometimes have prismarine and sea lanterns, which
also, it's not way too impossible, it's just a little bit difficult. I'm definitely going to destroy every one of these hostile plants. You can replant them. It won't be hostile though. They have blue on them instead of red.
Maybe you subscribe to my theory at this point in the video, and maybe you don't. Either way is fine. For the believers, there's still some stuff we need to figure out. The biggest question of all is, where are these builders? They clearly existed at some point, but what happened? I alluded to this earlier, but the overworld is infested with undead mobs that resemble the player in shape and size, including skeletons and zombies. Another notable addition is the Drowned, which are zombies that have, well, drowned. It's also worth pointing out that they spawn with generation of ocean ruins. Others have speculated that these undead enemies are a result of some huge event which decimated a thriving species, and I happen to agree. I think that this is the species that built the monuments and the pyramids. Not Endermen, not villagers, but a huge group that somehow all died, resulting in undead remnants. I have an idea about what happened to them, but it's too big to fit into this video. If you're interested in that theory, let me know. Whenever we're trying to figure out something like this, we should take the time to identify use of faith that we've made, or
if you don't know, it's Metro Gaming now.
Massive solar flare added a 25th hour to the day. Businesses are wondering what should we do.
Minecraft is a mysterious and strange game. The world has so
We're not
much to
getting
discover,
rid.
including sweeping landscapes.
Okay, it's roughly in that corner. You saw my share screen, or you saw my camera? Notice anything new? No. I built a giant Lego wind turbine. It's a giant Lego wind turbine. It took me like 7 hours to do that. A lot of it because I actually was trying to find this one triangle piece to actually put the blades on. You've probably seen the triangle triple connector, or the trip. And yes, if you don't know, it can spin and it can rotate its yaw. So it has a yaw changer, so you can actually spin it around. It's got like a little anemometer on top of it. It's a pretty decently big piece. What? You can tell. No instructions, by the way. That's a pretty good feat. And although one thing I could change, I would if I could, I would definitely make the tower. Oh shoot! God. You know, I was gonna make these paths transport paths for the vehicles themselves, but I might just make it exclusively rail transport because there's like no point in cars down here. I will definitely consider building garages for some of the vehicles I have, but definitely not allowing them to transport down these carriers because of obviously what's going on here. Having to destroy these roads and to build them again is getting on my nerves. I cannot. We should have a thing. Okay, escape the gravity. Yeah, there we go. We did. We escaped. I wish there was a first-person mode to this game. That'd be very useful. Do we have a medium storage? Okay, now we're gonna load this bad boy up with dynamite. We should roughly need about 4, but I would go ahead and go above and beyond. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with 4. Maybe. You know, let's see if we can bring 8. We can. Okay, I have 2 right here. I should have more somewhere. Although due to some of the presence of chips, I definitely am assuming right now that I have consumed the dynamite and used it to open up boxes. I have a trade platform up here. I was so dumb. I was about to say, where does Astronium come from? But I forgot. I have an Astronium miner. I'm probably about to go and put up another one at that path where I uncovered Astronium earlier. I have a really good system here. This thing turns Astronium into scrap, and the scrap can be used to buy materials that I need. Dude, that's a lot of dynamite. Just gotta be careful not put. Wow, well this shipment gave me more than enough dynamite than I need. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I know if I even told you, I moved my Lego table downstairs with me. My living room, the couch. It's like literally right by me, if you don't know. Okay. You know, I don't want to be a little bit greedy or cocky, whatever, but I'm going to, I'm gonna place I'm gonna place all 8 at once and run for the hills. Because I wanna increase the radius of the explosion. That's how dynamite works in this game. And detonate, run. It worked! I heard it! I think it did. Well, I don't hear it. It definitely worked. GG's. I'm good at thinking through problems. Now the plant has been destroyed, it's made this pillar a lot safer. And a lot easier to dig out. Uh-oh. My hydrazine is running out on my jet. If I run out, it's gonna be way harder to get off of this pillar if I get stuck. So there's a bunch of junk that's been sucked up towards this pillar.
Don't mindlessly attack the player with arrows or explosions. Rather, they use their intelligence for something much more sinister. They push the limits of what's possible, no matter the casualties. These are the Illagers, one of Minecraft's least understood mobs. What are they doing in their outposts and huge mansions in the woods? Why do they raid villages? Who even are they? Welcome to Deep Dive, a series where I explore some of the more obscure and hidden aspects of games. Tonight, we'll be examining the Illagers, looking for clues both obvious and hidden in plain sight. Hopefully, through this process, we will learn who they are and how they fit into the lore of Minecraft. Join me for a dive beneath the waves.
Allegra starts working 2 times faster than Claritech. And unlike Zyrtec, it won't make us drowsy. Allegra gives you the fastest, non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief so you can live your greatness.
Give your Valentine the gift of restless.
I am stuck to this pillar if I don't get that hydrogen filled up.
That's always made with the finest ingredients. Russell Stover. Made packing.
Toasted.
To begin, we need to clear up some terminology. It's important that we recognize that the term Illager represents a group of mobs, including the Pillager, the Vindicator, and the Evoker. We'll look at the specific differences between these later on, but for now we can talk about the Illagers as a group. It's clear that the Illagers have a close connection to the Villagers. They share certain physical characteristics, including an oblong head and a large nose. Even their name is a pun on the word villager. However, there are some crucial differences, both in their appearance and their behavior. To understand these differences, we need to have a baseline idea of who the villagers are. Let's take a look at them first. I'll preface this section with a disclaimer. I'm not an anthropologist, so I apologize if I make any mistakes in the following analysis. Anyways, villagers live, unsurprisingly, in villages, which are scattered throughout the world. They display many characteristics not found in other mobs. The villagers have constructed moderately sized settlements and have adapted to many different biome types, from scorching deserts to frigid tundras. Although their clothes and architecture are determined by the specific climate, they nonetheless show evidence of a shared culture. For example, all villagers walk with their arms together, hiding the bare skin of their hands from others. They also exhibit specialization of labor. Different villagers have unique professions, including farmers and butchers, as well as more complicated employment like cartographers and clerics. These specializations work together in a bustling economy, with emeralds as currency. A Fletcher may not know how to make food, but that doesn't matter because the farmer does, and bread is just a few emeralds away. So although the various villages may be separated by distance, they've collectively learned how to thrive on their own. For some reason, we don't really see evidence of inter-village communication. Each town appears to operate independently. Perhaps a good descriptor would be tribes of villagers. They have developed enough domestication and irrigation to settle down, but there's no evidence of a power structure between villages. There's no...
Yeah, we're just gonna completely ignore this room that we've been building out.
Illagers, on the other hand, play by a different set of rules. They are clearly enemies of villagers, even to the point of sending out patrols to find and attack villagers. Illagers occasionally participate in more coordinated attacks against villagers known as raids. Waves of every type of villager will spawn during these raids. Both patrols and raids are led by captains carrying the same ominous banner. This implies that pillagers, vindicators, and evokers see themselves as a cohesive group under a flag. Furthermore, they must have a way of communicating with one another across long distances in order to coordinate raids. As you see, the various illager types are quite spread out, yet they're still capable of banding together when they want to. So it's already clear that there are some fundamental differences in the way that illagers act compared to villagers. They have clearly defined leaders and at least some level of strategic planning during the raids. More importantly, though, it would seem as though they are much more capable of accomplishing shared goals. The illagers collectively want something. But what? We'll get to that in a little bit. Remember how one of the important traits of the villagers is specialization? Well, illagers also exhibit this trait. However, it's much more extreme for them, to the point where their abilities seem almost totally different from one another. As I alluded to earlier, these specializations are so distinct that the illagers are split into several different mobs. Let's take a look at one of them. The infantry of the group are the pillagers. They spawn in outpost structures that can occur in any biome where villages might be found. They're quite tall, enabling good visibility over a long distance. Pillagers complement this with crossbows, powerful weapons with higher range, accuracy, and damage compared to bows. They use
I wouldn't say damage, they suck.
refining their skills in their free time. Furthermore, some pillagers are sent out on patrol in groups of 5. Patrols wander around, killing enemies on foot. So, what is the role of the pillagers? Well, pillagers are experts at keeping unwanted enemies away, in this case, villagers. It seems as though their goal is to establish control over the territory between villages. Outposts are their hub, and patrols are their boots on the ground, offering a harsh reminder to any villager foolish enough to wander about. The result of this is that villagers are essentially trapped within their own villages. Have you ever wondered why we don't see villagers traveling? I think it's because the pillagers pose such a substantial risk that it's simply not worth it. They have everything they need in their villages. Why risk death just to go on vacation? There are some interesting implications of this. First, it prevents villages from developing a more advanced inter-city society. If villages were able to work together and trade, then they would have a much better chance of regaining control of the Badlands and extinguishing the villagers. Without that, however, villagers can't easily evolve as a collective species. If a villager just invent a game-changing technology such as explosives, it doesn't really matter because they can't communicate it to another village. They can't conscript an army using tax money because they can't have a government. We're getting a little bit closer to understanding what the villagers want. We know that it's in their best interest to suppress the villagers, and that sometimes they even aggressively slaughter them. But the pillagers are just the tip of the iceberg. To really know the journey to the true heart of their operations, the Woodland Mansion.
The Spoopy Mansion. I remember me and Bryce raided one of those mansions. I think I went through with Diamond or Iron Armor in the first time. I remember when I saw a seed, and because they were small in a PlayStation world, there was 2 mansions fused into each other.
The mansion is an exceedingly rare generated structure inhabited by Vindicators and Evokers. Mansions are sometimes found tens of thousands of blocks away from spawn. They are built in one of the 2 dark forest biomes, places with wide, short trees that create a thick canopy of leaves overhead. The mansion towers above all, 3 stories high. It's one of the largest and most advanced structures in the overworld. Its architecture is majestic, with wide hallways, sweeping staircases, and tall ceilings. There's an artistic flair to it all. Subtle patterns on the walls, supporting arches in the hallways, and in general, a high level of craftsmanship throughout. It's the mark of a prideful and adept architect, sculpting buildings as beautiful as they are practical. Structurally, the mansion is more complex than anything we see in the villages, and although it's similar in size to some of the monuments, it feels quite a bit different stylistically. The mansions contain a huge variety of rooms. Let's explore and see if we can learn about the Vindicators and Evokers that live here. Villagers need to survive, just like the villagers, and they accomplish this using indoor farms of melons, pumpkins, and mushrooms. There are forges to construct the axes and other equipment. We can also find several types of bedrooms, much more ornate than the simple dwellings of the villagers. Some even have closets. There are storage rooms, libraries, and huge tables for discussion. A map room offers a clue as to how the villagers plan raids. But there are also rooms in the mansion where their purpose is a little less clear. A strange pumpkin head surrounded by minecart wheels.
Yeah, those rooms are
Entrances or
weird.
exits hidden within the walls. Lava encased in glass, and a room with a lone tree.
Apparently there's a diamond in that
off from the hallway.
thing.
A chamber with fences and a checkerboard floor. Rooms cultivating various types of flowers. And then there are the locations that have a more sinister tone to them. There are several different types of prisons, some of which even have redstone-operated blocks. There's an arena of sorts, with tiers of audience seating. Is it for friendly boxing matches? Something tells me that's not the case. They also have these strange altar-type rooms with cold stone and draped banners. What are they for? It's not immediately obvious. Our explorations of the mansion slowly paint a picture of its inhabitants. The villagers clearly have their own developed culture, different from the villagers. There's one trait that jumps out to me. The villagers are independent thinkers. They try new things, they discuss ideas and make plans. It's already paid off for them. They have the most luxurious living conditions in Minecraft, and they have advanced weaponry. They're the most powerful group of overworld mobs. There's something else about the villagers that's a bit weird. They're very interested in symbols. There are rooms with huge wool animal statues, such as of a duck or a cat. Are they just good sculptors? Perhaps, but what's a little bit stranger is they have many sculptures of themselves. We've seen this earlier. Pillagers had a specific banner on their faces which was draped over the outpost and carried by the raid captain. But it's taken to another level in the Woodland Mansions. It's above their staircases, in gallery-like rooms, and there's a giant three-dimensional statue of one of their heads while holding a torch.
Where the lapis block
And inside
inside
the head is a single lapis lazuli block. There
Yeah.
must be something special about the graven image of themselves. They wouldn't do this for no reason. That's the question we keep coming back to. Why? Why are they preventing the villagers from developing? Why do they keep building secluded mansions? Why are they acting
Okay,
as
they're
such
just
chaotic
mean.
force in an otherwise mostly peaceful overworld? Let's take a closer look at the remaining illagers we haven't covered.
The
Vindicators
witch.
spawn in the mansion and they wield axes. They are the workforce behind the illagers. They chop down
If you include witches as villagers, they're the first villagers to ever be added.
outposts and mansions. Like the rest, they are more than capable as warriors when the time is right, but that doesn't seem to be their main job. And then there's the Evoker, a wizard of sorts. In the Minecraft universe, there's clearly some type of magical force.
Correct, kid.
We see it with
Evokers.
enchanting and potion brewing. The Evokers, however, appear to have a much deeper knowledge of this magic than anyone else. They can summon spectral things to attack enemies from the ground, as well as vexes, which are strange, sword-bearing ghosts. They're the only mobs known to actively summon other entities for help. Villagers have discovered something new about how magic works, which grants them unique powers. Maybe we can figure out what that is. Magic in Minecraft has structure to it. For example, enchanting is not random. It doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It requires energy in the form of experience. And although experience can be gained through actions such as smelting or mining, killing a mob produces much more, sometimes an order of magnitude higher. What we're seeing here is a system where death is the primary commodity. To enchant weapons, the most effective way is to kill other beings. So for those who have no qualms about it, destroying other creatures is a great method.
Or just
to gain
spam
magical
villager
power.
trades.
I think what's
Especially
happening
ones
is
that
the
offer
Evokers
one pumpkin
have
for an
realized this,
emerald.
and through their studies, they found a way to harness this power. What's the catalyst, though? It's the Totem of Undying. The Totem of Undying is a very unique item in Minecraft. It allows the user to survive one.
And there's my
fatal blow.
Astroneer
In
mining
some
rail.
sense, it offers control over death, the final and most powerful of fates. If death truly is a big source of magical energy, as I've suggested, then finding a way to hold death's restraint in physical form would be an extremely powerful capability. I believe that this is a result of the experimentation by the Illagers. It's one thing they've been able to do that is completely unique to them. We may be tempted to think that the primary use of the Totem of Undying is to escape death. And while that's certainly true for the player, I'm not sure that tells the whole story for the Illagers. If the Evokers are trying to escape death, then why don't they use the totem in battle? That's what leads me to believe that the magical capabilities it possesses are much more valuable than simply staying alive. Sure, a few extra hearts is nice, but why waste the totem just to delay the inevitable? Although we don't have an explicit explanation as to how the totem works, there are some subtle hints. First, let's examine its appearance.
You got emerald
It looks to
eyes.
be a statue of an Illager head. Notice the large nose. This would make sense from the clues we've seen in the mansion. The Totem of Undying may be the result of their experimentation using full statues. There's something else about the totem. The eyes are green. At first, that doesn't seem strange, as Illagers and Villagers both have green eyes. But the Totem of Undying has a much brighter tone. It's a similar color to something we talked about a few minutes ago, experience. Since experience can take the form of life force draining upon death, then wouldn't the Totem of Undying need to be powered by vast amounts of experience in order to prevent death? As I said earlier, Minecraft magic doesn't just happen. It always requires energy from somewhere. Why would the totem be any different?
With the sauna,
I'm almost done building this. I might actually go eat lunch and work on my homework. That way I can actually play tonight. Do my own stuff. Don't have that much to do. Oh, there you go. I'm very close to getting that one. I'm gonna connect this, but the spire
If this is true, then
over to my base.
Suddenly, the Illagers' actions towards the Villagers make sense. Villagers are so much more powerful in combat than Villagers. Without the player, the Villagers only have the Iron Golem to protect them, and even that would be destroyed after several waves of a raid. If they wanted to, the Illagers could wipe all the villages off the face of the planet. But they don't want to do that. Why? Well, villages are a great source of experience. Any player will tell you that. Trading, harvesting crops, and smelting all generate experience. Experience that's ready for the taking when the time is right. Consider, villagers keep the villages separated so they can't develop new technologies as society. They do, however, allow the villagers to survive on their own as small towns, farming, working, and reproducing, all the while slowly increasing their total stored experience. At a certain point, though, the villagers band together and form a raiding party, releasing the village's experience through death and powering their totems. To the villagers, villages are nothing more than farms. They need to be self-sufficient, but not to the point where they're capable of mounting a collective defense. They feel no remorse over destroying a single village, as there are many more for the taking. But they certainly don't want to extinguish all of them at once, as it would spell disaster for their magical quests. There's a long-term benefit to keeping some villages alive. Let's think bigger. The Totem of Undying is very powerful. What might they be trying to do with that magic? Well, one option has to do with teleportation. I explained in a previous video the Time Lord at the end, and you can watch that using the card button. To give you a quick recap, I think that in the grand scheme of Minecraft, villagers and illagers are relatively recent developments in the world, showing up after all the portals were closed and all the villagers died. There is evidence that villagers are attempting to find a way to teleport to other dimensions. In the Internet video, I proposed that all interdimensional travel always requires at least two things.
I was behind this truck yesterday on 24, and it turned. I looked on the right. It was carrying a truck which had a radioactive symbol on it. I'm like, ah. Yeah. Yeah, I have had my car a year ago. I'm hopefully gonna release a video probably either later today or early tomorrow. By the way, instead of getting off at like 11 tomorrow, I get off at 3. So yeah.
Or the obsidian spheres. The smoking gun, however, is an extremely rare secret room that sometimes occurs in mansions. This room is shaped like an in-portal room. There's TNT, silverfish stairs, and a chest with ender pearls. Were the villagers trying to solve the mystery of the in-portal using magical force? I think that interdimensional travel is just one of their many projects. It seems as though they managed to replicate a spawner in one of their rooms, solving one mystery of the overworld. Another room is that which has blue wool in piles. There's a famous theory that they're trying to create Steve, as he has the same colors in his clothes. The evokers can summon Vexes using the totem. Why not a living, breathing character? If they had control over death, could they create life? If we want to take this a step further, what if the player is the result of their successful experiment? We're starting to get into some of the thorny existential questions about Minecraft, which are well beyond the scope of this video. I don't know for sure if this is what the villagers were attempting to do, but I do think that they saw the totem as a tool, not as the end goal. They recognized its power and enacted control over the villagers in order to maintain that power. I can't see your faces right now, but I guarantee that some of you are looking at me like I'm a lunatic. It's always good to think critically whenever someone proposes a theory. Don't just blindly accept it as truth. As with all theories, we need to find any leaps of faith that we've taken or issues with our evidence. Those of you who really know Minecraft will have already found a problem. Villagers who are killed don't drop experience. This would seem to disprove the idea of villagers using villages as experience farms. And from a literal perspective, that's true. However, I'm inclined to believe that this is a gameplay decision, not a lore decision. Hear me out. Why would every single mob, players included, drop experience on death except for villagers? This is especially weird considering that experience is clearly an important part of the mechanics of villagers. I think the purpose of this is to encourage players to trade with the villagers instead of just killing and looting any village they come across. I'm not sure why else villagers would be special in this regard. Maybe that explanation isn't good enough for you, but that's my thought. Let's ask another question. If the Totem of Undying grants magical powers, then why can't it be used by the player? I think the answer is as simple as the player doesn't know how to cast spells. Remember, the Illagers discovered this stuff through years of experimentation. I think it's totally reasonable that the player wouldn't know what to do with the totem. It's worth thinking about, though. Another thing that I've implied but haven't elaborated upon is the idea of villagers being outcasts. It's not unreasonable to think that the villagers whose lives are ruled by routine might think poorly of people who think outside the box. There are instances of this beyond just the villagers. The wandering trader, for example, doesn't follow the rules of the village. He wanders about with his some bizarre items. He also displays the skin of his hands, something that no quote-unquote traditional villagers do. This is same for illagers. When attacking, we can see their hands. It's a subtle detail that I think is important. Another outcast is the witch, probably kicked out for obvious reasons. Illagers seem to at least tolerate witches. They can join patrols and will spawn in raids. The witch does not seem to be an illager though, as she has none of their imagery in her hut. Still, witches do work together with illagers when it benefits them both. So, there we go. That's my theory. Let me know what you think. I'm not claiming that this is absolutely correct. Rather, the purpose of this video is to start a discussion. Hopefully together we can begin to solve the puzzle that is Minecraft. If you're interested, join the Discord using the link in the description. We've got a great community, and it's a fun place to discuss videos and theories. We'll end with that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.
The complex puzzle of the wither?
If you're uninsured,
Yeah, the wither's kind of a weird mob.
Progressive Boat Insurance can protect your boat, belongings, and your...
The worlds of Minecraft are sprawling and complex. They're inhabited by many different types of creatures and mobs. Some of these are more advanced than others, such as the villagers and their arch enemies, the villagers. But there are a few mobs that are different in seemingly fundamental ways. And perhaps no mob is more confusing and unsettling than the Wither. A player could complete the entire game without seeing one, yet the Wither is undeniably important. But how? What's its purpose? And why is it so unique compared to other mobs? Welcome to Deep Dive, a series where I explore some of the strangest and most obscure mysteries in games, such as Minecraft. Tonight, we're going to take a look at one of the two boss mobs. We'll examine the clues, both subtle and deep in plain sight. Hopefully, we can learn about what the Wither is and begin to put the puzzle pieces together. I should say that this video will be more understandable if you've seen the other Minecraft deep dives, but I'll do my best to catch you up if you haven't. With that out of the way, join me for a dive beneath the waves. Withers are constructed using materials found exclusively in the Nether, including wither skeleton skulls and soul sand. It's worthwhile to see if we can understand what these materials are and how they fit into the overall context of the world. The Nether is an interesting place for several reasons. One such oddity is that it seems as though not all of its inhabitants are natives. Some came from other places. A good clue for this is fire resistance. Many Nether mobs have this, indicating that they are adapted to the harsh conditions. For example, blazes shoot fireballs and are even made of fire. Ghasts are also immune to lava. Magma cubes thrive in the brutal basalt deltas biomes, using their jumping abilities to navigate the stalagmites. Even striders, although passive, clearly belong here. They walk on lava and are cold and shifting on the basalt forever. However, there are mobs that seem to be boring. One example is the piglins. Survival is a struggle. They're not immune to fire, and they live in decrepit structures, unable to or unwilling to repair them. Furthermore, they must engage in dangerous amounts of parties just to survive. The internet also plays along with them. The reason why previous deep dives on the why. I'll explain more about the internet later on. There's yet another mob that's not native, and that's one we need to take a closer look at, skeletons. Minecraft has many undead mobs. All of these come with an implicit truth. The undead mob was living at one point. The overworld contains several mobs like this, mostly zombies and skeletons. The fact that there are so many of them seems to imply that at one point there were far more living creatures than we see today. So who were these zombies and skeletons when they were alive? They weren't villagers, as they have their own zombie variant. They weren't piglins for the same reason. And they either. Physiologically, they're just so different. I don't see how any of them would fit with an Enderman shape. So we're left with one option. These undead mobs belong to a species that no longer exists in its living form. These are the ancient builders, and they were similar in size and shape to the player. I've talked about them before. There's evidence that
exactly
sunken ships
180 degrees from the other part.
They've left behind a lot of loot as well. Something
What? Oh yeah, right. My mom's in Puerto Rico. Then who's babysitting you. Huh? Diane? What? Oh my god.
Happened in the overworld, however, an event which is beyond the scope of this video. For now, it's enough to know that the ancient builders existed at one point. All of this evidently happened in the overworld. That's where most of these mobs are found. A mass extinction event would be unlikely to be interdimensional, as the three dimensions are just so much different from one another, with very few gates connecting them. So it's somewhat intriguing that we occasionally find skeletons in the Nether. Deepening the mystery, there are two different types, standard skeletons and wither skeletons, which are a larger variant that can cause a devastating wither effect. Clearly, something strange is going on here. We'll start by examining the normal skeleton, and then see if we can learn about the wither skeleton. Just to avoid confusion, I'm going to be talking with respect to the Nether. Some of the stuff I say won't be true for the overworld. Skeletons spawn primarily in the Soul Sand Valley biome. They're not the only bones here. We can find huge nether fossils buried as well. It seems as though there's something special about soul sand that causes skeletons to appear nearby. Let's take a closer look and see if something jumps out at us. It's pretty well known that the texture of the soul sand block shows several screaming souls. But is it possible that it somehow literally contains souls? There's actually evidence for this. Boots with the soul speed enchantment allow the player to walk quickly over soul sand and soul soil. In doing so, there's a unique particle effect that's produced from the ground. And turns as if it has escaped a trap. It starts colored brown, probably coated in sand, but as it rises, it frees itself and reveals its true color, a beautiful light blue. Then it fades away. This could actually be a soul. The only other ghost that we see in Minecraft is a Vex, which has a similar blue color. So it would seem as though there really are souls trapped in the sand. What's more powerful, though, is that we've learned that there's a way to release them. In doing so, they're converted to actual work. The player can literally move faster. Souls have some sort of energy to them, and there are ways to put it to use. I'm going to call this effect soul energy, as the souls appear to be the primary source of its power. There are some other phenomena that can be explained using soul energy. Let's look at soul fire. It burns forever on soul sand, and it's also hotter than normal fire, as evidenced by its increased damage. It has a familiar blue color, the color of souls. Is this fire a result of souls being burned, releasing soul energy as heat and light? Another mob has figured this out, the piglins. The piglins avoid all types of soul fire, including lanterns and campfires. It's not because they might get burned.
I forgot about that
Regular
feature.
Fire will also do that. I think it's superstition. Somehow they know that soul fire is powered by actual souls. Understandably, they want to stay well away from that. And can you blame them? I would do the same. Soul energy has even more uses. For example, nether warts can only be placed on soul sand. They're certainly not getting their energy from the sun. They grow equally regardless of environmental factors. Therefore, they must be powered by the soul energy from the sand itself. Nether warts are useful. Almost all potions require them. There's an argument to be made that at least some of the energy powering a health potion is ultimately soul energy. This brings me to an idea that I've talked about before. Minecraft clearly has some type of magic. We can enchant armor, for example. One way to interpret Minecraft magic is that it's fundamentally based on death and destruction. Enchanting requires experience, and the best way to get that is by killing other mobs. The player gains experience through death, and it loses it by enchanting. Like real-life energy, it always balances out. It's not created or destroyed, it just takes different forms. This would presumably be true for soul energy as well. So the next question is, where did these souls come from? The answer seems obvious: skeletons. soul sand valleys are infested with them. We've already established that the ancient builders are overworld skeletons, but we do know that they did exist in the Nether at one point. We can find items like horse armor in the Nether fortresses. The builders died, leaving their soul energy in the sand scattered about with undead skeletons. So what happened? To figure it out, we need to look at the Wither skeleton, since it gives us some important clues. Wither skeletons are scary. They're tall and they move quickly, attacking the player with a sword. Their signature is a brutal effect known as withering. When afflicted, a player's hearts turn black and begin to disintegrate. Withering is a strange phenomenon. It's different from poison as it can kill the player, and only mobs that can cause it are immune. Webster's dictionary defines wither as to lose vitality, force, or freshness. I'm going to propose something here that may initially seem wrong, but hopefully it'll make sense by the end of this video. The withering effect is the conversion of health to soul energy. The wither effect extracts soul energy from a being. Their life force is lost, but soul energy is produced. It's most often captured in soul sand, which acts as soul energy sinks, storing vast amounts of it. But why? Why do the wither skeletons do this? There's one more element that we still need to discuss, and it's the most important of them all. Now that we have a basic understanding of soul energy, it's time to investigate the wither. Withers are built using two materials, soul sand and wither skeleton skulls. Upon construction, the wither spawns and begins powering up. After a few seconds, it starts its rampage, firing skulls that cause large explosions. It's a very challenging fight, maybe even harder than the Ender Dragon. The Wither's attacks aren't random. It specifically targets other mobs that are alive. It won't attack anything undead. When one of the skulls kills a mob, it places a Wither Rose on the ground, if possible. In certain cases, Wither skeletons can spawn on Wither Roses. What we're seeing is a life cycle. The Wither produces roses, which can in turn create Wither skeletons.
Seriously? That is actually a thing? I don't know if I'm going to finish these tunnels today or right now, but I'll definitely be working on them, making giant or large industrial tunnels.
Another wither. But this only tells half of the story. To really see what's going on, we need to look at the wither from a soul energy perspective. Let's assume that the wither status effect is in fact draining life force. The wither causes the wither effect on nearby mobs. That soul energy needs to go somewhere, and the rose eventually uses it to produce a wither skeleton. This offers a substantial improvement in soul energy generation capabilities, as wither skeletons can move around and seek out mobs. They do this as much as possible, slowly building up reserves of soul energy. When a wither is constructed, that soul energy is put to use. Wither skulls suck it out of the sand all at once, and the vast amounts of stored energy creates the wither. It uses this energy to attack with explosions. Some of these will kill mobs, dropping roses and continuing the cycle. However, not all of the wither's soul energy is used to attack. When the wither is eventually killed, it drops a nether star. This is like a soul energy diamond, an item which has an extremely dense concentration of the soul energy from the wither. There's only one known use for the nether star, to craft a beacon. The color of the beacon is interesting. Once again, it's the same light blue that we keep finding, the color of souls. The beacon is powered by soul energy from the nether star, and it's very useful. It can apply a wide variety of positive status effects on a player. It could be thought of as fundamentally similar to a potion, although much more powerful. Remember, potions are made using nether warts, which also require soul energy. This soul energy cycle seems to make sense, but there's still something that's not quite right, which is the fact that the wither must be built by someone. In that sense, it really feels unnatural. Without external intervention to keep it going, the cycle would die off. No withers means no roses and no wither skeletons. It doesn't feel like something that would just happen in nature, more like something that was created artificially. Fair warning, from this point onwards, things are going to get pretty speculative. I'm going to make a bit of a leap here. But if we read between the lines of what we've seen so far, there's at least a chance that what I'm about to say is correct. So take it with a grain of salt. Throughout these deep dive videos, I've slowly been developing the lore of Minecraft, and in my opinion, the Endermen are the most important mob of them all. I'll give you a quick recap of what we've discovered so far. It appears as though the Endermen began in the end before discovering portal technology and sending a few Endermen to the overworld. Unfortunately, they were trapped with no way to return. Eventually, these few made it to the Nether and found that blaze powder could power Eyes of Ender, allowing them to return to the end. As the Endermen studied the Nether, they realized that blazes only spawn in certain areas. There were also wither roses here, which made traversing these places dangerous. Since the Endermen were mainly interested in getting blaze rods, they cleared out the Nether roses and began construction on huge fortresses high above the lava lakes. However, what they didn't realize was that the intense power and usefulness of blaze rods came at a cost. The wither roses that they removed weren't the problem. They were a symptom of something more deeply wrong with these areas. As they constructed their fortresses, they found that a new type of enemy would spawn, wither skeletons, with a brutal, life-draining wither attack. As blazes continued to appear, so did wither skeletons, picking off the unsuspecting mob and killing them with the withering effect. Soon, the Endermen began to realize that the wither skeletons were closely connected to the blazes. The energy for the powerful blaze rods came from the wither skeletons. They had unknowingly stumbled upon soul energy. The value of blaze rods was so great, however, that they chose to deal with the skeletons rather than tear down their fortresses. At least these skeletons were constrained in one place. However, there were more than just Endermen using the fortresses. The ancient builders also were there. Maybe they even helped construct the fortress. There's evidence in other places that Endermen and ancient builders learned from each other, such as the similarity between sunken ships and in-ships. The builders also chose to use these fortresses to harvest nether warts for potion brewing. If there's one trait we've seen about the builders, it's that they like to think big. They began to wonder about the nature of this soul energy trade. Blaze rods and nether warts were clearly useful. Was it possible to harness this energy without the danger of wither skeletons running around? Maybe there was some sort of way to obtain a vast amount of soul energy all at once, instead of needing to slowly build it up over time.
I can't drink. I'm not legally able to drink. Why is it advertising me alcohol?
The builders hoped that the wither skeleton souls and soul sand would react in such a way that the stored energy would be released all at once, ready for the taking. They drew up schematics for the wither. Then one day, they constructed it. But the builders didn't realize the true power of soul energy. Sure, another star was produced, but with a huge caveat. It was hidden inside of the wither, a shockingly powerful mob that took the builders off guard. They'd accomplished their goal of concentrated soul energy, but they'd done it too well. Some of the energy gained sentience. In the same way that a wither rose converted soul energy to wither skeletons converted soul energy into a wither. The builders were eventually able to defeat the wither, and I'm not sure if they made another one. Perhaps they recognized the great danger they unleashed and vowed to never use it again. Or they saw the power of the nether star and determined that it was worth the risk. We don't see nether stars or beacons in chests anywhere. This sort of makes me think that they only built one. That single wither, though, was one of the most unnatural moments in Minecraft history. Okay, I'll be completely honest with you. This is a theory that still has some issues. The biggest problem is the nature of the withering effect. Is it actually connected to a location in the Nether and the fortresses were built there? Or did I get it flipped and something about the construction of the fortresses caused withering? I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I'm not finding evidence for the fortress itself being the cause. The only thing that it could be is the blaze spawner, but we see spawners all over the place without wither effects. So I was forced to assume that the location in the Nether matters, and that the fortress was built there. It doesn't quite feel right though, like we're taking too big of a jump. Here's what I will say. I don't see the production of the Wither as a cataclysmic event, contrary to some other popular theories. The reason for this is that when we spawn the Wither, nothing like that happens. It's extremely destructive in the short term, but is defeatable, seemingly without long-term consequences. Rather, I really do think that the Wither is a manifestation of a disease, the same disease that causes withering. The hardest part for me to understand is the Wither Rose, as in the present day the only way to find them is through the Wither itself. However, I have to think that they were natural at one point, and it offers a convenient explanation as to why wither skeletons and blazes only spawn in one place. I also wish I knew exactly how soul sand works. It's obvious that soul energy is contained within, but I'm not completely sure how the wither effect gets it there. Is soul sand like a magnet for soul energy? Or is soul energy all around us, but the soul sand is the only block capable of trapping it? I still don't know for sure. So it's a little bit awkward for me to be here telling you that I don't know how it all works. But I'd rather be honest about this instead of creating some huge convoluted theory and making stuff up to fill the holes. There's this nagging feeling that I'm missing something big, I just don't know what. So I'm going to do something I haven't done yet on this channel. I'm going to ask the community for help. In the description, there's a link to the Discord. If you think you understand the nature of the withering effect and why it only happens in nether fortresses, let me know. I'm not opposed to doing a follow-up video on this. I really just want to find the answer. The puzzle pieces are in front of us. Can we put them together in the right order? Anyways, thanks so much for watching. As always, I enjoy reading your comments, and I appreciate each and every one of my viewers. The growth of this channel has been nothing short of explosive, and I'm really happy to be producing content that people enjoy. Let me know in the comments what you want the next video to be about. There's so much mystery in Minecraft, and I can only hope to slowly uncover it. This has been Retro Gaming Now. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Minecraft cave dweller. Of course it's in Russian. That thing is like, hell no. Dude, the cave dweller is just so uncanny. Tragic story of the witch.
Tired of racing against the clock? Good news. FPF understands the time constraints.
This voice makes me so annoyed.
One of Minecraft's greatest strengths is the wide range of creatures and enemies that are found throughout the world. They span the gamut, from mild-mannered villagers to explosive creepers to dark and powerful bosses. With so many possibilities, it can be easy to overlook some of the mobs that may initially seem less interesting. The Witch is an example of this. On first glance, there's really nothing special about them. But this line of thinking obscures an engaging story explaining who they truly are. There's more to the Witch than is immediately obvious. Welcome to Minecraft Deep Dive, a series where I explore some of the more interesting and obscure parts of the game. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at the Witch, one of the few mobs with explicit magical capabilities. Hopefully, we'll be able to discover who they are and how they fit into the context of the world. Join me for a dive beneath the waves. The Witch is a hostile mob. They're the rarest in a group which I call the standard enemies. These are the mobs that spawn at low light levels in the overworld. They include well-known adversaries such as skeletons, zombies, and creepers. Although it's a diverse group, we can clearly split it up into categories. The first set is the natural mobs that don't have anything strange about them, and they might be found in nature. These include the spider and the creeper. The next group is the undead mobs, and this includes zombies, zombie villagers, skeletons, and the situational variants, such as the drowned and husks. In previous videos, I've talked about how these undead mobs imply that there used to be a humanoid species which was wiped out. But don't worry about the details of this. The point is that all undead mobs are in this group. Another standard mob is the Endermen, although these are a special case which require more complex reasoning to understand. Watch the video above to learn more. So, as we've just formalized, all standard enemies are either natural, undead, or Endermen. Well, almost all of them. The obvious question we need to ask is, where does the Witch fit into this? It's clearly not undead, as it doesn't take extra damage from smite. It's also not an Enderman, and it doesn't seem to be natural either. the witch uses potions which require crafting abilities to make. Categorically, the witch is all on its own. No other standard enemy is quite like it. There's a specific place where witches can spawn, in addition to their standard spawn. They spawn upon generation of swamp huts, which rarely occur in swamp biomes. Swamp huts are structures which are elevated, providing protection from the water that's often found underneath. They provide a glimpse into the life of the witch, as they contain equipment, including a cauldron and crafting table. Overall, it's a pretty uninteresting structure. It does, however, offer an important clue about the witches. They have a home base. They're not just wandering the world aimlessly, rather, there's a place where they do their brewing. There's a clear parallelism between witches and villagers. Both are extremely similar in appearance, including the same height, a characteristically large nose, and folded arms. The swamp hut is similar in size to a villager's house, and it utilizes solid wood supports on the corners as would be found in a village. It spawns a black cat as well, similar to the clouders of cats found on the village streets. The hut even has a workstation of sorts with a cauldron and crafting table. These similarities are far more prominent than that of the illagers. As explained in a previous video, illagers seem to be extremely far removed from the villagers, both in their architecture, leadership structure, and the way that they act. That's not the case for witches. In fact, it seems as though witches are almost villagers, or at least very closely related. The dynamic between witches and villagers offers more insights into this. Witches are not aggressive towards villagers or iron golems, with a few exceptions we'll talk about later. Iron golems, on the other hand, will attack witches. Even so, witches won't defend themselves, preferring to die over inflicting damage on a village. This hostility dynamic implies an asymmetric relationship between witches and villagers. Witches mean no harm, but villagers see them as a threat. You may be seeing where I'm going with this. The witches are villagers that have been outcast from the village. This may also be the case for the illagers, but the difference here is that the illagers are thinking bigger, and they don't even want to live in the villages, choosing to destroy them instead. On the other hand, the witch doesn't appear to hold a grudge against the villagers, and wants to be accepted. At the very least, she's indifferent towards them. If it's true that the witch is an outcast, the next thing we need to determine is the reason. The obvious answer to this question is that the witch was banished for witchcraft. However, we need to be careful with this, and make sure we know what witchcraft actually is. We may initially think that it's the manufacture of potions. What makes this complicated is that there's a villager profession that, on the surface, is extremely similar to a witch, the cleric. Clerics also deal with magic, and are the only profession to brew potions. This is made clear by the brewing stand in their house, as well as their available trades. They request items such as glass bottles, nether warts, and rabbit's feet, and they sell things like redstone and glowstone. So is potion brewing really witchcraft? That doesn't seem to be the case. If it were, then clerics would also be banished along with witches. It seems as though we've hit a dead end. What are the witches doing that make villages dislike them? The fact that they can defend themselves with complex potions should make the villagers want to keep them, not kick them out. So what's going on here? To find the answer, we need to approach the situation from a different angle. What are potions useful for? There are essentially two categories, offensive and defensive. Offensive potions are used on other entities, such as a splash potion of harming or poison. Defensive potions are drunk by the user and include potions like a potion of health or a potion of swiftness. Witches will use both types of potions. In fact, they have an arsenal of 8 different potions for various situations, 4 offensive potions and 4 defensive potions. This is one thing that separates witches from clerics, a knowledge of a wide variety of possibilities. But that in and of itself proves nothing. Again, wouldn't knowing more things be a benefit for a village? We're missing something here. The answer is tough to find. In fact, I sort of misled you a minute ago by creating a false dichotomy of potion uses. Although offensive and defensive potions are by far the most common uses, there exists a third, somewhat obscure case. This is the transformation of a zombie villager to a regular villager. How does that work? Well, first the zombie villager needs to have the weakness status effect, which can only be done by brewing a weakness potion. Then, giving the zombie a golden apple will cause it to begin its transformation back into a regular villager. After a few minutes, the zombie villager will be completely cured. The mechanics of this seem to be complex, as it requires deep knowledge of how zombification works. This is a huge topic, and I'll save it for another video. For now, though, we just need to recognize that zombie villager curing is a third use for potions. And it's certainly an atypical case. Someone who hasn't seen it before would be likely to misunderstand what's happening. Among the player base, zombie villager curing is pretty common. It's a great way to get cheaper trading deals. What's less well known, however, is that there's an example of this found somewhere in the Minecraft world. If you don't know it's there, you may
Igloos.
never find it. In fact, I've talked to many people who didn't know what I'm about to say.
1-800 contacts.
Igloos. I never see igloos.
When's he gonna be here?
Sleep. Do you think we can get some boba?
What's boba?
There's a generated structure that occurs in snowy biomes called an igloo. It's pretty unassuming. It contains a bed, a furnace, a crafting table, and a redstone torch so as not to melt the ice. But it holds a secret. Half of all igloos have a trapdoor hidden underneath the carpet. The ladder leads down to a second room, hidden deep underground. This room contains 2 cages, one with a villager and one with a zombie villager. As we look around, we find more stuff scattered about. There's a cauldron and a brewing stand, which contains a single potion, a splash potion of weakness. In the chest, we find typical villager stuff, such as wheat and coal. There's something that sticks out, however, a golden apple, which spawned 100% of the time. Someone was using this igloo to experiment with zombie villager curing. They've clearly found the solution. The splash potion of weakness combined with the golden apple will cure the zombie. There's even a sign with arrows showing the connection between the two. So we know that someone in the Minecraft universe was trying to solve a serious problem for the villagers. If one villager was infected, a village could quickly become overwhelmed by zombies. We see examples of this with zombie villages that spawn sometimes, where the entire population has been zombified. There is clear motivation for finding a cure. Iron golems can protect against zombies, but they're not really a solution to the fundamental issue, which is that a villager is physiologically weak to zombification. So who was it that took on this challenge? Examining the structure offers some clues. Once again, the design is really similar to a village house, this time like the igloos we can find in tundra villages. Just like every other house, there's a bed, as well as a workstation in the form of a furnace and crafting table. What makes this different, however, is that the igloo contains a secret second workstation in the basement, which is the brewing stand. If we dig a little deeper, we find that the furnace isn't actually a real workstation. Butchers use smokers and armorers.
Hey guys, unfortunately I have to go. I'll probably be back either in a few hours or later tonight. I will be probably missing for a vast part of tomorrow. Well, that's interesting to note that these pillars are so close together that you can literally stand between them and see them. I mean, I kind of understand that, but I didn't really realize the scale of these. Which means that I thought that if I put these into like 8, it's a sphere, right? Divide it into 8 because there's probably 6 of these. It's probably hard to describe. I thought each partition would be really, really big, but it doesn't seem like the case. See ya.